Welcome to Truth Uncompromised. I am your host, Rhonda. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Truth is peace. Truth is justice and freedom to love, live, and be. Music provided by SourceVibrations.com. All right, family, welcome to the Truth Uncompromised show. I am your host, Rhonda, and tonight is Thursday, February the 9th. That last song I just played is actually by a brother. He's off of YouTube named Damien Escobar off of the violin. So check him out. I just so happened to run across that and really liked it. And he has a lot of other good music out there. So I try to grab independent artists when I, hear their music and really dig in it and kind of feature it on the show. So with that said, we have a great show planned for you tonight. We're going to chop it up with the news, a lot of stuff going on. I do want to go over just really quickly some of the Super Bowl stuff. I personally had an experience while viewing the Super Bowl, so we'll go over that real quick. Get into some of the other political news and some of the other metaphysics things. Actually, have an article that Sis Angela, actually, she sent me 2 articles. Hopefully we can get to them tonight, kind of a follow-up on the Anunnaki stuff we've been talking about. And so, of course, the main topic tonight, Brother James is coming back tonight, Brother James Dunn. He was on the show a couple months ago, and he is known as really a mathematician. But the way he uses math is definitely with sacred sciences. So I am really, really excited to have him back tonight. As usual, the brother was putting out some heavy information on Facebook that blew me away. He's getting into blockchain contracts that's mixed in with electronic currency. We've been talking about electronic currency on the Truth Uncompromised show 2 years easily. I've been talking about it on Facebook for 3 or 4 years. And he also, surprisingly, I know last week we talked about the UN Declaration of Indigenous People Rights. And so now I'm just minding my so-and-so business. This is how the universe works. We just so happened, we talked about it last week, but I had ran across the information on Facebook, and it was totally independent. And I saw where I had tagged Brother James, and he had already, a day before, posted some information on that and how it all ties into the economic, the sacred science economics that he is heavily into. So I'm really, really happy to have him back. We're going to bring him on at 7:30 to chop it up. We're going to try to get in a little news. So let me bring in Brother Wendell. I see you there, beloved. So let me bring you on. Here we go. Brother Wendell, you there?
Yeah, I just got me a swig of that potion.
What potion? The violin, dude?
No. Do you know it's going to be 20 degrees down here in Georgia tonight?
What
yeah.
the F?
And soon when I come in and cool down, I said, let me get me a swig of this potion over here in that one night. You know what I'm saying?
I know that's right, honey.
So he going to be cold when I get up in the morning.
Wow, I got to brush up on the Weather Channel. I didn't know that the GA got hit with that. Well, we'll be getting hit with it. So tonight, then, is what you're saying.
Shit, it's been cold all day. But it's supposed to get down around 20 tonight.
And that's not like the ATL in no damn February.
Oh, no.
By that time, we coming out of like, you getting ready to put on your little tights or whatever and your little flip-flops. So that's off the chain.
Yeah, this thing Trump down here, I'm telling you.
Wow. They can't predict this damn weather no more. They're guessing because up here, one day, literally, it was 60, I want to say, over the weekend. And then 2 days later, it's 20-something. Then it snowed. Today, it's in the 20s. They don't know what the hell the weather going to be like. So I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. It is what it is. So, all right, then. I'm sorry, go ahead.
They need to just fire all of them and let Mother Nature do what she gonna do.
Then that's so true. They don't. They don't know what the hell to predict. I heard that the East Coast had a big snowstorm that hit them today because, as a matter of fact, they shut the schools down in Boston and New York, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, they don't know what the hell is going on. So, yeah, you go on and sip on your little toddy. That'll make the show even more interested the more you get a little tipsy.
No, I ain't rolling like that. I'm already close enough. I didn't know that when I was young. When I was young,
I know that's right.
College.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't get toe up to the point of getting sick. My stomach can't take it.
No, I just do it for medicinal purposes. I don't roll like that like I used to when I was young. I don't do it like that. But I used to get it here back in the day, man.
I heard that. Well, okay, we're going to start with the Super Bowl stuff real quick. So now, I'm not a sports person. I know the shit is rigged. But, of course, I wanted to tune in because I, just wanted it to happen for the ATL. So I tuned in. I actually went to a bar and was looking at it. And, first of all, the opening, and I know a lot of you all probably saw a lot of this either on YouTube or Facebook. Lady Gaga, we broke down the metaphysics of that name when we were doing the creation story myth. Gaga really means Pluto. That was the name of planet Pluto in ancient times, okay? So don't think that shit is unique. Nothing these folk do is unique. That damn name is not unique. Gaga means Pluto, okay? So anyhow, she brought her tail out swinging on some strings. And long story short, I noticed on her stage she had this huge pentagram, and it was tilted to the side. I want to say maybe like a 90-degree angle. Okay. So now those familiar with rituals know that a pentagram is used as like a sealer in rituals. Okay, but when they tilt it to the side at a 90-degree angle, they on some whole other bullshit as far as, conjuring up they goddamn demons. So all of a sudden, now I'm sitting there and I see that. I say, oh, here come this bullshit with ritual all day long. Okay, so now that was halftime. So before that, they brought out Papa Bush and Mama Bush in some MF and wheelchairs. And they did the coin toss.
Tell me no.
I'm not lying on the people. I promise you. They came out in some MF and wheelchairs. And he did the little coin toss. And I said, I'm sitting at the bar. Now, of course, nobody else in the bar picking this shit up. And I'm like to myself, exactly. So I saw, you going to drag them out the MFing hospital, because weren't they just in the hospital a couple of MFing weeks ago? You going to drag them out the hospital in wheelchairs and all to make this game, to start this ritual, to symbolize white power and control. I should have known then that the Patriots was going to win, okay? So anybody that saw the game, ATL is a young team. They was doing their thing, had a huge lead. Then all of a sudden, fourth quarter, so many minutes in, the Patriots get 2 quick touchdowns. I saw that bullshit there. So long story short, they went into overtime, and that was the first time they went into overtime, all of that bull crap. So people have been analyzing the game, saying the Patriots through the game, this, that, and the other. They cheated Atlanta out of the game. So basically, as usual, that Super Bowl was a huge ritual, and this particular year, the theme was they trying to still prop up the system of white supremacy with these so-called elite, that bloodline, Daddy Bush and them bloodlines still in power. Here's the thing that I picked up on it. The shit is so weak, family. The shit is so weak. I'm sitting there like, I don't care what y'all do. Gaga looking a hot MF mess on the stage. Her performance wasn't entertaining. Daddy Bush and them in the wheelchair, they on their last MFing leg. The Patriots looked a hot mess. So I'm saying all that to say, although they call themselves still performing these rituals, if you know what you're looking at, number one, to even know that it's a ritual. Then number two, the shit is so weak. I can look at it and see it's weak, and then they're struggling. So, in addition to that, one of the gentlemen at the bar, melanated man, he had got kind of tipsy. So when the Patriots started to make this miraculous comeback, I can't make this shit up, y'all. The man said, that's what happens when you sell your soul to the devil. That's what happened. So my sister, she's into like spirituality and metaphysics as well. We were the only two that heard him. This man was sitting across the bar from us, and we looked at each other. She said, sis, I said, did you hear what he said? She said, yeah. The man said it 4 times. Now, he was fucked up, y'all. He was tore up from the floor up, drunk. Drunk cinema mugs MF. So the spirits was already in him, okay? That's what alcohol really means. That's why they called it spirit, okay? So he had already opened up a portal, and he bringing out this message, but nobody else could hear him. So then he said, yeah, that's what happens when you make a contract with Lucifer. When Lucifer is your look, and me and my sister sitting there, and we looking around the bar like, ain't nobody else hearing what this brother is saying. So long story short, we, of course, thinking that he is equating to Brady, the Patriots quarterback, and his allegiance to that whole Luciferian cult shit that the elite use, and those that are in that cult and make alliance to that are given those particular power and fame, et cetera, et cetera. So I just thought that was interesting. That was my take on the Super Bowl. And just real quick, even the mascots of the Super Bowl, the Falcons, of course, that's their mascot is a falcon. And I saw where someone, and forgive me, I can't remember who put this out there, saying that the Falcons logo represents Heru. Okay. And of course, the Patriots represented the Pilgrims. That white supremacy power that, pretty much took over this land. And so I just thought that was very, very interesting to just sit there and look at the game, not looking at it the way other people are looking at it, because I'm no football fan by any means. I barely even know how the game works. But just looking at it from a spiritual metaphysics perspective and sitting there like, wow, they really straight putting it in our face. So I'll yield, Brother Wendell, in case you want to put something on it, and we'll keep it pushing. If not,
yeah. Hell, I didn't even know who won the game. Somebody had to call me and tell me who won it. And I don't give it no energy. I played football from the age of 6 till I was 22. I saw it.
Yeah, and that particular guy, melanated guy at the bar who was effed up, he used to play college ball. So I just thought that was real interesting. Just the whole thing on how that particular game, in my eyesight, is them still trying to keep the energy going of a white supremacy system. But I'm just here to tell you, from what I felt with the vibrations, it's not going to work. It's a done damn deal, because there is no energy left to that system. Okay, so, all righty, we're going to keep it moving. But before we do that, I think 615, I'm not for sure if you have your hand up. I've seen you there for a while, so I'm going to open up your line. And if not, I'll put you back on mute. Here we go. 615, your line is open. Okay, so you must not meant to raise your hand. So I'm going to put you back on mute. Okay, so anybody else want to join the conversation, press 1 to get in the queue. That's how you get in the queue. Okay, because we got about 5 minutes before Brother James comes on the line, and I do see him in the queue, so I definitely don't want to take up his time. So the other quick thing that I definitely wanted to discuss, of course, as the Super Bowl was going on, this didn't get discussed, but Press TV reported that out of Yemen, there were ballistic missiles that were fired upon Saudi Arabia. So I just found that was very interesting, that as the U.S. was celebrating performing their ritual, a.k.a. the Super Bowl, there was literally missiles being dropped from Yemen on Saudi Arabia, and the mainstream media news did not mention it at all. So that's just something else that we've talked about, that how behind the scenes there is a silent war that's not creeping up, it's kind of been going on for a while now, and it appears that they are definitely trying to start World War III. And it's just as we talked about before, it is to institute, to keep going the power of the white supremacy system, because we are in the age where everything is switching over. Now, the shit ain't going to work, but we're just reporting on behind the scenes what they are trying to do. Okay, so the other thing in the news, real quick, Brother Wendell, it's been a lot of articles coming out about a red dwarf planet. Another sis, we're not going to have time tonight, but she sent me 2 really good articles. We'll get into it next week. One on a DNA study reveals human bred with alien species, and then another one on return of the Anunnaki. But out of the mainstream media, I think this was RTT News, they're talking about the red dwarf planet. And they're basically saying that, yeah, this was out of RT News. This was yesterday. Bad news for Proxima B. Red dwarf flares jeopardizes habitability of the planet. Okay. So now, before I get into this, they had just came out and was saying that the red dwarf planet, this Proxima B, could sustain life. Okay, so now all of a sudden they coming back saying it can't. So it's saying the habitability of planets orbiting a young red dwarf star is threatened by frequency stellar eruptions that likely depleted the atmosphere oxygen levels, according to NASA. The findings published in the Astrophysical Journal Letters concern habitable zones in the region around a star where conditions could potentially allow life-sustaining liquid water. The research has implications for the recently discovered Proxima b planet in the habitable zone of the red dwarf Proxima Centauri. Proxima b, which is 1.3 times the size of Earth, was previously found to be the planet most likely to harbor life. NASA scientists examined the impact of stellar activities such as flares and cornea mass ejection on space habitability and looked specifically at eruptions from the young red dwarf stars. If we want to find an exoplanet that can develop and sustain life, we must figure out which stars make the best parents, said Vladimir, lead author of the paper. Okay, so I'm not going to go into the article, keep reading the article rather for time's sake, but what's interesting about the particular article, first they came out and said this planet was in the habitable zone, and that's not the only planet because they found a cluster of planets orbiting another huge big star that's, I think they said either 10 times, I can't remember if it was 10 times or 100 times the size of the Earth. So the red dwarfs around it are like, let's say, sister parent or child planets. So they were saying that those child red dwarf planets could sustain life. Now all of a sudden they're coming back saying this one can't sustain life, but they still kind of indicated and hinted that the other planets around it sustain life, can sustain life. So why is that important? We've been talking for years on this particular show about the prophecy and kind of like out of the ancient text of the Nibiru solar system and how our particular solar system cross paths with that solar system every so many years, et cetera, and we're kind of calculating, and other, of course, experts as well have calculated that we're in that particular time or age for this solar system to cross across ours. Okay, so I'm just letting you be aware that anytime you hear them speak in terms of red dwarf planet, habitable, now they threw a new name in there, Proxima b, they are really referring to the solar system of Nibiru, because Nibiru is just not one huge planet. It is an entire solar system of several planets, of several moons, and several suns. So that's something to pay attention to. So I'll yield Brother Wendell in case you want to put something else on it.
Did they say something about eruptions?
Yes, they did, and that's why they claim that it's not habitable. That's exactly why they said it's not habitable.
Well,
yep.
According to the information we covered, that's how they protect their atmosphere by volcano eruption.
Oh, I forgot about that. And in that article, they're saying the opposite, that because of the explosions, that is why it is messing up the atmosphere. That is exactly what that article is saying. Very, very interesting. I had forgot about that, Brother Wendell. Wow.
Yeah, they're gonna have to find out and admit that thing is for real.
Yeah, I mean, I kept thinking about it and, having several dreams about it, showing up in the sky with the suns and the moons and the actual planets. And then I've shared this before where I've, personally seen the second sun a couple of times. I think I've seen it like 3 times now in the sky. So I'm thinking, so are they just going to wait for the shit to just straight up show up to everybody and have people just messing in their pans, not really knowing what's going on?
Yeah, they're going to be messing in their pans too.
Wow.
I'm just waiting on the gears. I want them to take me for a little spin right quick. Let me see what's going down. Bring me on back.
Oh boy, I'm sure you will get that opportunity, brother.
Yeah,
I tell you.
Hey, just show me what you're working with and take me on back to the house. I'm good.
Right. It's gonna get to that point because at least once a month they put out in their scientific news either something about a planet so many sides bigger than Earth that's so many, like 7 light years away from us. I've seen it as close as 3 light years away from us. So every month they are dropping some type of language in regards to that particular Nibiru solar system. So that tells me it's right there.
Yeah, that's what's causing this weather roller coaster. They don't want to admit it, but that's what's causing it.
They don't want to admit. I'm like, how the hell you gonna be in flip-flops one day, literally, family, within one day, it can be 60 degrees, and by night you at 20 degrees. I'm like, this shit ain't normal. What are y'all talking? We don't even have any seasons. It's just the wild west all over the place. It is literally not any seasons, and people have been straight that, those of us that pay attention to the sky are saying, the sun and the moon just out together all day long. Like, la, 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 la.
Yeah.
Like almost every day.
It's likely to be anywhere in the sky.
Anywhere. Especially the damn moon. I literally have to look around and say, okay, where you going to be today, player? Because I can't keep track of it. The sun has shifted a few little notches. I'm like, okay, folks just ain't noticing none of this. So yeah, absolutely, brother. That has a lot to do with the drastic weather that's going on. Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to get ready to bring Brother James in. So we want to welcome him back. I want to do a introduction on Brother James. He is a master of mathematics, sacred science, copyright specialist, and artist, to name a few. We want to welcome James back. He will join us to discuss, and I call it the future of economics through sacred science. But this week he will kind of give us an introduction on what blockchain contracts are, how that ties into the electronic currency, and what does that mean of tying that all together with the 501c4, and how does the UN Declaration of Indigenous Rights also ties in. Okay, so this stuff, family, that Brother James is going to speak on is very, very high sacred science. It's metaphysics. It's also mathematics. But what just straight blew me the F down when he was talking about blockchain contracts, I had just ran across something, but I didn't know what it meant, so I just got off of it. I ran across some article. I think it was on CoinDesk. And so when I saw him put it out there, I said, ooh, let me go back and look at it. This is what's happening now. So he'll discuss with you what that means, and I'm pretty sure he'll give us some insight on what we need to be doing. So this brother is the CEO and founder of Herban Eden Corp algorithms. And he also has a heavy background of child of deaf adults. His profession is art science programmer, stable marriage equation and game theory lecturer, and inspiring inventor of the next generation and Tesla technology. So I'm going to bring in Brother James. I'm going to welcome him back to the show. We're very excited to have him. So let me unmute you here, brother. Greetings, Brother James.
Peace, Sister Rhonda. How's everything?
Everything is well. Everything is well, brother. How are you?
All right, now thank you for having me back, man. It's most appreciated.
Oh, I'm so glad that you were able to do it this week because, like I said, when I saw you drop that information on the blockchain, I'm like, and a couple other people have been requesting for you to come back. I said, ooh, this is the perfect time to see if that brother can join us to kind of keep us updated on what he's been working on and what is really going on in the financial world for the next economy. So with that said, yeah, I'm going to shut up. And Brother Wendell is also here with me as well.
Peace, Brother Wendell.
What's happening, my brother?
All right, now.
All right, brother. So I'm going to turn it over to you. I first wanted to ask you, if you don't mind, can you kind of explain to the family what is a blockchain / blockchain contracts?
All right. It's two separate things. Blockchain and smart contracts is what it's called. The smart contract is a game changer. Now, the last time I was on, that was basically the whole thing I was talking about. And I'm going to tell you why. Blockchain, the best way to understand it is using chemistry. Let's use chemistry to really unravel this. In the same way, you need an atom in order to have an element and a periodic table of elements. You can't have a compound, a chemical compound, without that. There's no such thing as a chemical compound if you do not have the elements, the periodic table of elements. Now, the Bitcoin would be the chemical compound, whereas the blockchain would be the periodic table itself. So you can't have a digital currency without the blockchain, because what the blockchain does is it generates the processing power. Now, the last time what brought me into it was about 5 years ago, when I discovered that it took 144,000 supercomputers to generate one Bitcoin. So I said to myself, what the hell are they doing with all that processing power? Now, I know I understand that they have to solve a problem in order to generate a Bitcoin. And whatever that problem is, it generates the Bitcoin, and that's what they call mining. You have people who mine Bitcoins, and that's how they get a leg up on the Bitcoin industry. So that's the blockchain part of it. But 5 years ago, I realized that that's more processing power than the United States government. Okay, 144,000 supercomputers. I mean, anybody that's into computer animation, anyone that's trying to open up a new market for hip hop is going to fall back and ask themselves, what the hell are they doing with all that processing power? What can you do with that? Right. Obviously, you can generate a bunch of video games with that. And so I caught a vision, and the vision was, sooner or later, they're going to use that blockchain to establish a whole new World Wide Web. And I'm going to tell you why. The World Wide Web that we have right now, www.com, our near future generation is going to look back at this moment in time that we're experiencing right now. And www.com is going to become synonymous with World War III. Why? Because of this new invention called cyber attacks, cyber warfare, right? That's www.com all day, all year. Why? Because www.com is based on servers that's grounded by the electric grid. So the only way they can hack you is if they're using the electric grid. That's the only way you can be hacked. There's no such thing as a bunch of servers that are not grounded, a bunch of servers that's 100% wireless. that's computing just as much data as your and everybody knows. You know, you can't run something like Facebook or Twitter or any .com company unless you have a bunch of servers,
right,
that are grounded. You know, you got to have your servers. What this blockchain does is you see what Siri does for the iPhone. Siri, the artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
What that does for iPhone is what the blockchain can do for business. Automates business in a way where it cuts out the middleman and puts all the power and authority in the company or the 501c4. In other words, a 501c4 could take the smart contract. That's the reason why they're starting to maneuver themselves, like certain states are starting to maneuver themselves because to pass legislation that would allow them to make smart contracts and blockchains work. It separates them from this whole business of the government running everything. You know, and these Republicans, these Republicans got a very serious problem with the federal government being able to tell them, oh, you can't tell black people they can't come in your store, for example, or you can't tell gay people that they're not allowed to be serviced by you or whatever. That's discrimination, right? These states, they have a problem with that. They have a problem with you telling them that they have to involve condoms and you know, they especially the religious crowd, right? So this blockchain, this smart contract allows them to be able to work that in a way where the government can't say anything.
Wow.
It makes them more independent. So as a community that's on a come up, a subculture that's on a come up, blockchain would allow a subculture like hip hop to be owned by the people that generate hip hop culture. Right now, you could say, what's the top selling hip hop product out there, right? Well, as far as a platform goes, World Star Hip Hop, I mean, that's not really saying much. You understand what I'm saying? That's not saying much. But imagine us having our own banking system, our own data bank. A data bank is worth more than a bank, because the only reason why that currency is worth something is because of something called legal tender.
Yes.
Right?
Now there you go. Now you get. I was going to go there.
Right. So the lawful tending of the legal tender is what makes that American currency worth something. You can't have a lawful tending of the legal tender without sovereignty. So that piece of paper not only represents our sovereignty, but it represents what sovereignty means to the ancient world, not just because this world we're in now and the system that we have now would not exist if it were not for the Babylon system, the ancient Egyptian system. And when you look at a dollar bill and you see all those codes there, that's a code that has to be cracked, all right? And you can't crack that if you don't have a banking system, your own banking system, all right? And as long as everyone's dumbed down as to what the history of their banking system is, because everybody has their own banking system history. The Asian American has his banking system history, right? The so-called Jew has his banking system history, right? All right. What's Black America banking history, right? Because right now they just passed a House resolution that establishes what's called corporate sovereignty under the term African American, right? So African American goddess of black household means that she's seeing corporate sovereignty paper. She can't see corporate sovereignty paper if she don't understand the history of the banking system in her own community. So I ask everyone that's listening, please go in on this particular name I'm about to hit you with. Maggie Lena Walker. She's the first black person, not just a woman. She's a black woman, but she's the first African American to start a banking system. 1903. From 1903 to the 2020 census is 117 years. Attach Psalm 117 to that. You still got 117. All right, so it's not going to be too difficult for you to connect the dots because that's the shortest chapter in the Bible. Right next to that is Psalms 118. Verse 8 is the exact center of the Bible. The next chapter is the longest psalm and the longest chapter in the Bible. Those three psalms that I just gave you, sitting right next to each other, constitutes a algorithm, a computer language. All right? That's the Bible code. There's 1188 chapters, 1,188 chapters, but they're all coded by Psalms 119. Why? Because you have 22 letters there, and each letter has 8 stanzas. Right? I dropped that on you the last time I was on, but the reason why that's so important is, think about it. Your banking system is based on an algorithm, and if you look up Maggie Lena Walker, she went in on that. She uses the term automated system or automated usury. Those are the terms that she was using. But those terms now is translated algorithm, computer language. That's what that is today, in today's terms. All right? Now, that's a black woman. You also got Madam C.J. Walker. That's 2 Walkers. That's 2 Walkers and 2 queens, right? Now, when she started that banking system, it allowed black people to be able to do their business with each other in a way that allowed Black Wall Street to happen, right? Now that became a threat. We have our own banking system. We have our black families coming together, owning things, and you know, we talking oil. We talk. If you look up all that was lost in the Black Wall Street massacre, right? We talking over 700 items. You compare that with over 700 patents from Nikola Tesla and resurrect that whole situation with a blockchain. Why? Because that blockchain allows you to have a whole nother internet system that's independent, a whole nother financial market index, like Dow Jones. Well, how did Dow Jones happen? How did Dow Jones happen if you didn't have a bunch of so-called white folk? Y'all know white means Holy Spirit. You know what I mean? They really Caucasians. Okay, that's the real term. That's the correct term, Caucasians. But let's work with that, because you got to give it to them. What they did with that was that whole white sovereignty thing. What they did was they protected their children. They made sure their children was clothed in the Holy Spirit, so that they'll always be able. When they look at Egypt, they see themselves. When they look at Babylon, they see themselves. When they look at Rome, they see themselves, right? And everyone else would be locked out of that knowledge of self. Their knowledge of self is really our knowledge of self, and it's telling in how the banking system works. That's the reason why you have to understand the importance of processing power and what you need to do with that, because there is no way in hell you're going to have states all of a sudden sitting back saying, what the hell are we going to do with this Bitcoin thing? Now, they've been saying that since Obama went into office. And let me make this point. Let me make this point. When Obama went into office, everyone listening, I want you to do your research on this so that you can see it for what it is. When Obama went into office, it brought out the worst in the black community. Now that Trump is in office, it's bringing out the worst in this so-called white community. You can't tell a child who is able to sit down, go into the internet, and connect the dots for themselves, that all this fake news and all this nonsense that's happening right now, all of this is a distraction for one reason and one reason only: to stop the ascension of this next community, this next generation, this cosmological age. All right, because if you ask your average brother what is astrology, he'll just start talking about the stars.
Right.
But that's not what astrology is. Astrology is the ability for one cosmological age to establish a communication with another cosmological age. That might be 6,000 years in the future. That's what.
Say that again. Say that again, brother.
Okay. All right. Astrology is the ability for one cosmological age to establish a communication with a cosmological age in the future. So if you go into hieroglyphics, and you're going to see that the Pharaoh is actually talking to you right here, right now. If that Pharaoh is black, he's talking to you if you black. He's telling you, don't forget me and don't forget you. Because if you forget me, you forget yourself. Don't forget what your ancestors built here. We built pyramids. We established this sacred geometry shit. We established this algorithm. This language is a computer. Is not only a computer language. It's a universal language.
Right.
You crack this code, and you'll be all right. This is what your pharaohs was saying to you. Black pharaohs from the kingdom of Kush. We talking 2160 BC. All right. I like to stay right there because I'm in love with Queen Aya. Aya is where we get Yah and Yah and Yahweh. Yahweh comes from because there was no Y. There was I. The letter Y came from the letter I. So once you understand the mathematics of the sacred geometry, then you'll understand the alphabets, and every alphabet is really a letter as well as a hieroglyph. All right. So that's an algorithm, right? The hieroglyph of ancient Egypt, the word hieroglyph actually means word of God. That's what hieroglyphs mean, right? So that's the reason why when I gave you the algorithm in the Bible code, right? That means that it was the people that was putting that Bible together was following instructions. Okay, and this is what so many of our brothers is not teaching our women and children. And like the last time I told you that the black man basically dropped the mantle. He's in trouble right now. He's the only thing saving the black man right now is the black woman. And if she drops the mantle, it's a wrap, right? So that's the reason why everything that we're saying, everything we're doing, is geared towards a specific group of black women. And until you understand, what the characteristics of that group is, you will never understand why they are the most educated group in America right now. There's a reason for that. That never happened before. Okay, that never happened before. They just broke a record. Black women just broke a record for being the most educated group in America. How that happen? How that happen if they not hungry? You know, they're not a bunch of thirsty thoughts out there. The reason why that's happening is because one, the black man dropped the ball and she has no choice but to step ahead. She's already outdoing the black man in corporate and corporate America and the universities. Right? She's more apt to get that degree. Now, what happens to that alpha male? You need him.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You need that brother, and you don't need him. You don't need him being a psyops minion, a psyops program. You know, he can't be walking around talking like, everything is dependent on the sky falling down, and all this doom and gloom, as if he never sat down and took the time to understand the math, the numbers and the facts. Because if that alpha male isn't about math, if that alpha male is not about the numbers and the facts, he's not going to win a war. We're at war right now.
Yes.
What does it take to win a war? You know, if you do your research on what it takes to win a war, you understand that what type of black men you need. You don't need brothers walking around wearing costumes talking about what they're going to do when the sky falls.
Right.
You got children. Let me give you a perfect example. I sit down with a bunch of beautiful children over the years, man. They my witnesses, right? And because I'm an artist, right, the way that I educate is I use art, and I have fun with it, and I make sure they have fun with it. And they're witnesses. They'll sit back and they'll tell you, when the hologram of Tupac came out, Cypher, they call me Cypher, that's my street name. Cypher dropped that jewel years before it happened. And then they'll show you a picture that I drew when I'm talking about hologram technology. It's coming. Now these babies, they see it coming. Then this thing that came out with, because one of my superheroes, it involves drone technology, and one of the drones is a skateboard. And then when they came out with their little skateboard with the wheel on it and the hoverboard, they call it a hoverboard.
Right.
The babies was like, Cypher Dunn called that. A few other things that happened in history. You got brothers like that in every community. Why? Because that's how we think. We look ahead. We don't just think in the here and now, right? Those brothers and sisters who think ahead, that's saying, hey, okay, listen, we playing chess. This is chess, not checkers. That's
right.
Right?
This is chess.
Think 10 moves ahead. Think
That's
10 moves ahead and see what's about to occur. Soon as this Bitcoin thing hit when Obama came into office, Bitcoin and Obama synonymous. Soon as iPhone came out, 2007, right? That's when I started Urban Eden. 2007, the app movement. I knew this app thing is going to change the game. Where are our programmers? Because I understand where Silicon Valley came from. Silicon Valley is a gift of Y2K. That's a leap year.
Yep.
All right. That's based on the Gregorian calendar. Right. That's a leap year. So if that's a gift from a leap year, Y2K, and a problem that they had to solve, and they all got together and solved that problem, and that led to Silicon Valley. Imagine what a leap age looks like, because that's where we at right now. If they was able to get a Silicon Valley gift from Y2K leap year, what type of gift are we going to receive from a leap age? Because that's happening right now.
That totally changes the game.
Right, and it's going to change the game specifically because the internet isn't just some computer. It's not for just computers. Like that blockchain isn't just for Bitcoin. That blockchain is a banking system. That's a bank. A data bank is a bank. So if you step to your average brother on the street and ask him, listen, do we have a data bank? Because Jay-Z is making $260 a second. Check it out. And they'll bring it up and they'll show you how Jay-Z is making. There's a website where you can go to and you seeing Jay-Z. That's just Jay-Z, $260. That's just Jay-Z by himself, right? Now, if a young black man, let's say he's 25 years old, and he's sitting back saying, do we have a data bank? Or we need to get that. We need to get that started. We need to get that like an ASAP. Why? Why would that young black man be so gung-ho about the black community owning a data bank with a 501c4? Understand me. Understand me why that's so important. Because, one, if you have a data bank, then that puts you side by side, toe to toe blow for blow with the Department of Social Services because they have a data bank.
Right.
And what do? They give you what's called a basic income in the form of a benefit, social services benefits, but that's an expenditure, right? And that expenditure is like toilet paper to industry and the U.S. government. That's some J.P. Morgan shit, right? Now, the sisters in the community to establish the concept of a data plan income to replace the basic income. Because that's what it's called in the international community, basic income. We call it a welfare check.
Right.
That's what the fuck we call it, all right? You can call it social service this, so that's welfare. Now, a data plan income means that you're generating income going directly into your account off of names and numbers. That's a domain name system, names and numbers. Now that has to be generated from a tax. You have to tax something, right? If you tax something, and then you're able to compound a tax credit with that, right? Then you can sustain the data plan income. Why? Because people are buying the data plan, one. And no one's going to look at a data plan that generates revenue into your account and say, "Oh, I don't want that data plan," because no matter what it costs, like it could cost whatever gold is a gram, right? Last I checked, it was like $50 a gram. So let's say you got a data plan that's $49 a gram, $49 to $50 a gram, right? And that's how much the data plan costs. But the data plan allows you to have $1,000 in your account, and no matter how much you spend, it reboots itself every 24 hours. Now, the only way that would happen is if every letter, Psalms 119, every letter, the 22 letters, adds up to 1,000. Add it up, right? Because as soon as you hit 10, it's not going to go 11. It's going to go 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70.
That's the compound.
Yeah, that's where the compound happens. See, thank you. See, we there.
We
there.
You
understand what I'm saying? Now that means every letter is a dollar value. It's not just it's not just Alif, the horn, basically Taurus. Because, what the high priest did was he did an animal sacrifice under Aries, and he did an animal sacrifice under Taurus. That's what happened. Okay, he slayed a bull, and he slayed a ram.
Got you.
You get that. You get that,
I
right?
got you.
Now that high priest had 12 stones on his ephod to gain access to what's called lights and perfections. What's lights and perfections? That is the scale of Ma'at. Ask any so-called Jew, and he'll give that up to you. You'll say, okay, you got me. As soon as you say scale of Ma'at, it's a wrap. Everyone knows the 42 laws of Ma'at. Everyone knows that that's where they got their 10 commandments and all that from. Right? But it's more than that. The scale of Ma'at is musical scale. It's 432 hertz. That's what it's what Pythagoras gave them. It's what Plato turned into the 3D solids, right? And then later on, you found out that those 3D solids is in the periodic table, which means that our ancestors had access to that already. All you doing is verifying what our ancestors gave you. Right? Now, if our ancestors gave you the periodic table and you just took a little bit of time to figure that out and you started catching your little visions and dreams, that was God hitting you with that. When like the illest chemical equation in the periodic table is what's called the benzene ring. And the benzene ring, the equation of that is carbon 6, hydrogen 6, C6H6. What makes that so ill is that it forms a hexagon, right? And out of that hexagon, you get plastic and everything else. But the dream that he received was a snake biting its own tail. Soon as he got that vision, he woke up. He woke up and said, "Oh shit, I see it." So that means when he went to sleep, he was thinking about it, and then God, the Holy Spirit, hit him with a vision, and only the vision was able to get him to truly understand what the equation is. Then he drew it out, and it wound up being what it is. Same thing happened to Nikola Tesla. He sit down and he receives a vision, and he draw his shit out. That's what I go through. That's your cipher done. That's me. You know what I mean? I because I'm an artist, if I receive a vision, I draw that shit out, and then I have to hit the library to understand what the fuck I drew. Why? Because it wasn't me that drew it. It wasn't me. Right. It was I. I is God. I is Holy Spirit. Right? That means the same Holy Spirit that's in me is in you. The same God that's in me is in you. So if that's a mathematical equation, you can't sleep. You can't sleep on names and numbers. Right? You got to do the etymology on the word God. When I do the sacred geometry, on the word God, I get 777. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You ask the average brother that, and he don't know what you're talking about. He's like, listen, I don't understand. I don't understand you. I said, listen, you don't understand me, but you understand C++. You understand you understand Gates and Steve Jobs and
right.
You understand what I'm saying? But you
right.
This is God, this is where they got it from. So when we talk blockchain, right, and we talk the black community owning their own blockchain, you know what you got to have? You got to have goddesses. Okay, so this is what we're going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to hit you with the algorithm. On one page. You're not going to understand it, but you understand Psalms 117. Like it's a Pythagorean, so it's going to always be a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and I'm going to end it with the A3 because the A3 means a note cubed. That means it's not just an A note that you tune in all your instruments to. It's a note cubed. What is this cubed by? It's cubed by C, the middle C. How is you cubing it by middle C? Because middle C is carbon 666. Okay, so it's not just so you adding the inaudible frequency. You adding the ultrasound. You adding the sound that you can't hear because that's reinforcing the sound that you can hear, so that what you feeling is music that sounds as that makes you feel like you're in a temple made of gold. That's what God wants. That's what the Holy Spirit wants. Wow. That's the reason why when they in church and they amplifying that sound and the church is built specifically for the acoustics to be able to amplify the Holy Spirit to get everybody all charged up so they can come back next week and do they little donation.
Right. You know what
I'm saying? So they get they get charged back up. You know what I mean? Because when they go home, reality hits them. When reality hits them, they get drained. When they get drained, they got to go back to church, get charged up. What are they getting charged on? That's Holy Spirit. That black man sick of that shit. So all you got is a bunch of single mothers and you know, it's mostly women in church. It's not a warrior spirit. If it's not a warrior spirit, it's not gonna keep that brother out of prison. He's not gonna come to your church and say, I'm not going to prison no more. Why? Because of that almighty dollar. So when you look at that almighty dollar, you got to understand what makes that dollar almighty. It's the legal tender. That means every black woman is supposed to have the ability to be able to be a part of the lawful tending of the legal tender. You have to have sovereignty for that. You have to have your sovereignty for that, and you have to understand the difference between a Republican capitalism and democracy capitalism, because democracy capitalism is not authoritarian. That's the reason why you have all these different groups that's coming up now. All these Black Lives Matter and all that. None of them have leaders. You notice that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
None of them have leaders because it's a democracy type thing, right? There's no real leader there. Now imagine a corporation. Imagine a corporation where that's founded on a patent that everybody in the black community owns. Now it's the same thing. There's no leader. God's the leader.
Right.
That's God's patent. You know what I'm saying? But understand what had to happen. This is the reason why you need goddesses. Black man is not going to be able to do it. You need black women to come together and understand what needs to be asked. Because once you ask the right question, as soon as they answer that question, it's admissible in the court. This is called Federal Procedure 36. Federal Procedure 36 allows you, it means it's a discovery request. It's an admission. You make the person that did you wrong admit that they did you wrong. First of all, you got to know what federal agency to take to court. The federal agency that has to be taken to court is the U.S. Census Bureau. Why? Because they specialize in statistics. They're the ones that can answer the question. They specialize, and that's our shit. Our shit is stats. You understand what I'm saying? Like, my last name is Dunn. I want the stats on that last name, because I know that came from a white man. I got to turn that last name into a surname, so I can be a king. You understand what I'm saying? I can't do that unless I can take every one of those letters and convert it with the math of God. Can't do that without a algorithm. You can't do that without a internet protocol, because everything's being transmitted over the internet. But if I do the stats on it, I'm getting the stats from the U.S. Census Bureau. And what I mean by that, I'm talking the ethnic background, right? Because you got certain surnames like Mabus, which was predicted by Nostradamus to be the Antichrist of this age, Mabus and Trump. When you do the stats on their name through the U.S. Census Bureau, you will discover that their name is 100% Caucasian, over 90% Caucasian,
Hold
over
up.
90%.
Okay,
over 90%
I just
Caucasian.
want to make sure I'm getting this right, because you didn't blew my wig back through the whole thing. So you're saying that we can determine folk bloodline or origins through tracing back their name using their own stats, which is the Census Bureau. And you just used the example of Trump. His name traces back to a Caucasian, and we can even get down to the percentage of what their quote makeup is by their own classification of race, using their own shit. Exactly. Like I'm gonna give you an example with me. With my last name Dunn, when I trace my name, right, it led to what's called a coat of arms, right, between the Irish, the Scottish, and the Brits. And right now it's 13% black, 1 point something Asian, 80% white, right? But you look up Trump, you don't get none of that other shit. You get straight white. When you look up Mabus, when you get Mabus, you get straight white. Now, this is America. This is in America, all right? Now, we all know what happened. We all know what happened in America, all right? The mandate was to create the 12 tribes of Israel right here in America, to build the temple of Ezekiel right here in America, right? To have the obelisk of Osiris and the vulva of Aset, the throne. Aset means throne, and all that right here. Right? And they accomplished that. The reason why they accomplished that is because the model that they used did not involve kings and queens and all that. They didn't do the monarch thing. They did a whole different thing. Right? And that different thing that they did is called an experiment. And anything that comes out of that experiment is an invention of that experiment. Like this term black man, hip hop, all of that is an invention of America. Okay? The Black Panther and Storm, Marvel Comics, all of that are inventions. That's copyrights.
You understand what I'm saying? That's copyright.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let's say you take the U.S. Bureau, you take the U.S. Census Bureau to court, and you just want them to answer a simple ass question, and the simple question is, how much did the 3/5 tax, capital gains tax, you know, when they made the black man 3/5 of a human being, it was a tax, right? How much did that contribute to Wall Street? And you don't leave it there. Because you got to hit them with a series of questions. But you want to keep it simple. You want to hit them with like 3 good questions. Right?
I'm right.
And then you hit them with the algorithm out of the Bible. You hit them with the algorithm out of the Bible because, see, once they get the questions, they have to come to court and answer that shit. Right? So that's the whole purpose of just hitting them with the questions. That's called procedure 36. 36 is easy to remember because that's the square root of the 432 hertz scale of Ma'at. Musical scale now. That's Pythagorean. Okay, they call it the Pythagorean scale, but that's actually the scale of Ma'at. But they call it the Pythagorean tuning scale. That's what they call it, right? Now, then you hit them with the algorithm. You say, now, does this constitute a computer language? Because you the stat agency, right?
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to answer this question, right? Now, I want to know how much did the 3/5 tax contribute to the establishment of Wall Street? 1, 2, how much would the 3/5 with a 3/5 capital gains tax for the black community, which means that we turn that into a musical equation because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3/5 is a ratio. That's all it is. It's a ratio, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's even in the Bible. But it's also a musical scale that allows us to compound the royalties on the wireless energy tax credit. In other words, if we're saving money, you know, if we're switching our whole technology to wireless, if everything's measured in Tesla units, which is a wireless energy unit, right? If everything's measured in that, we get a tax credit. Not only do we get a tax credit, if we use that to produce a platinum album, we can compound that tax credit. That means that's compound royalties. We don't need your credit card anymore.
Right.
All right, because all you're doing is you're compounding the debt.
Mm-hmm,
you know, and you're doing it with a contract clause. You're doing it with a contract clause to the United States Constitution. That's all you're doing, and you're doing it with the federal government. The state can't do that without getting permission from the federal government to do it. They got to go to the head. All these states represent is different organs of the body. The head tells them, allows them to be able to. Because there was a time when they had their own currency. Abraham Lincoln shut that shit the fuck down, and we need to be glad that they did because if they did not do that, then it wouldn't be the global currency it wouldn't be the global standard today, right? Now that it's the global standard today, and the whole economy is starting to shift. When it shifts, we have to be able to fund our R&D programs, research and development. We have to be able to fund that with a 501c4, and that 501c4 can't be a trust that's founded on conjecture. It's got to be it has to be a political education organization. Why? Because everything's education, everything's facts and numbers, everything. If you have that, if the sisterhood locks that down, then as soon as the U.S. Census Bureau says, okay, this is how much was contributed from the 3/5 tax on black people. This is how much was contributed. This was how much was contributed to Wall Street. When you look at that number, it's going to be outstanding. You're going to sit back and say, "Oh shit, they wouldn't have been able to do shit without that."
Without that, wow.
They would not have been able to do shit without that 3/5 tax. You understand what I'm saying? Now, as soon as they admit that, that's one. Then they're going to tell you that if you can actually compound the royalties on the wireless energy tax credit, which requires an invention, right? So you can't. In other words, you can't patent the algorithm in the Bible. You can't patent that. All you need them to do is prove that it's an algorithm. Prove that so that you can own it as a public domain. It's owned by the people. We the people own this. Right? If we the people own this, then you can turn it into an invention. That's what I did. I turned it into a card gaming. I had to turn it into a card gaming system. I had to turn it into a gaming system so that it could be, so that it could pass what's called the, you got different stages that you got to pass in order to get an invention. And the main stage is the non-obvious. It can't be some obvious shit. You know what I mean? It's got to be some. It's got to be genius. It's got to be something that when they look at it, they're going to be able to say, yo, you're a fucking genius. Right? Now, what are you in it for? Well, it's not me that's the genius. This patent isn't for me because this the word. This patent is to be owned and operated in the same way you own and operate your patents. I'm talking to the U.S. government. Right,
right.
The U.S. corporation, right? In the same way the U.S. corporation owns yours, America gets to own its. That means that we're not joined to the hip no more. The United States of America, that don't work no more. That don't fly no more. It's United States Corporation, and then it's America. Two different things.
So it's
it has to be two different things because it has to be two different things because one, you got Proclamation 5018 and Public Law 97-270. For all y'all who are really getting into your law books, that means that the Congress recognizes the Bible to be the Word of God. Ronald Reagan issued that as soon as the curse of Tecumseh on the White House. He put a 0-year curse on the White House where a president died in office every 20 years. It was 7 of them, right? Tecumseh is a warrior shaman. So this is American shamanism we're talking about, a part of American history that they don't teach in school. Okay, this is the reason. But the mathematics of that means that Reagan was supposed to be the next president to die because every president that died in office every 20 years, they died in office after being elected in a year ending in 0. Ronald Reagan was elected in a year ending in 0. When he got shot, he survived that. Okay, his wife Nancy Reagan, she was into astrology and all of that.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was.
Right now, if we was to let's say we was to write a script that's talking about American shamanism, U.S. dollar metaphysics, the spiritual part of America, no one's talking about. You got to give it up to these first ladies. You got to give it up to Nancy Reagan. You got to give it up to the guy that was president during the World War II. She was a dyke.
Eleanor.
Yeah, Eleanor Roosevelt. Right. Eleanor Roosevelt. Right. Thank you. Eleanor Roosevelt. You gotta give it up to her. You gotta give it up to Abraham Lincoln's crazy ass wife, because she was heavy into astrology and all of that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was heavy in astrology, and the main reason why is because in the Bible there's a thing called the Song of Deborah. And I need everybody to go to Book of Judges one day and really look at the Song of Deborah because Barak's name is in there. But this is where they got their stanzas for the American anthem. The American anthem is grafted from the Song of Deborah. Why? Because the Song of Deborah represents a nation that went to war during a time against an enemy that they, and a storm came and helped them win. And that's what happened with America. In the War of 1812, I believe it was. Yeah, 1812. Brits kicked our ass, man. They burnt down the White House, man. They had black men that was fighting for the Brits or whatever. The black men came over here and they kicked our ass and they burnt down the White House, right? And a storm came through there. Now we was dead ass. America was shot to shit. It was over. But that storm that came through there, one of the greatest storms ever experienced, blew blew the Brits back, and allowed us to win. And they incorporated that. That's that dude Scott that wrote the story, that wrote the national anthem. He was inspired by that moment, and it led him to. And inside that stanza, he actually cursed those black men that came and burnt down the White House. But they took that part of the stanza out. They took that part of the stanza out. You feel me? They using. There's one thing everybody need to understand. All right, the Bible is not just for blessings; it's for curses. We was cursed with the word. They took the word and they cursed us with it. And in order to break that curse, you have to understand Deuteronomy 28 and Leviticus. There's a name called Moloch. Moloch is a god of Baal, and he's the god of sacrifices, human sacrifices, and child sacrifices, and generational sacrifices, right? But his name actually means, king. Now, his name is mentioned 5 times in Leviticus. If you take those 5 points, it'll form the 5-point star upside down. That's Lucifer.
Yep, that pentagram that I was talking about earlier.
Right, that pentagram. Right now, the part of the Bible that they gave us, of course, it's the religious part. It's to make sure everybody do their tithes, get the 501c3s
right.
and all that thing going.
Right.
But the actual thing that makes the Bible work is what allowed the whole is what allowed the Western monarchs allowed that to work. That wasn't easy, building castles, and because you got to understand. This is not Africa. Europe. Europe is not Africa. All right.
Right.
Egypt been here. Babylon been here. All these nations been here. They had to fight, build, and reconstruct everything that was lost. Because back then if you had a repository of knowledge, you was a threat, because that repository of knowledge, or that library, was more likely filled with a bunch of geniuses that was going to be inventing shit, and that's a threat. So they're going to come in, they're going to burn all that down, and what's saved or what's saved or whatever has to be fleshed out all over again. They fleshed it out through their structures. They had to build shit in order to understand the word. You have to build shit. Because it's sacred geometry.
Right.
It's sacred geometry. That's what you're dealing with. It's Da Vinci. Da Vinci was a mastermind because he had to build. He had to put all that to work. He had to put the math to work. And when he put the math to work and expressed his genius, that knowledge just kept getting passed down from generation to generation. But one thing Da Vinci did with the whole Vitruvian Man, the Da Vinci Man thing, is that he built, like, he showed and proved how everything's built around the human body. The temples of ancient Egypt, especially with the Hebrews, the ancient Hebrews, who were not, of course, y'all know they wasn't Europeans, but,
right?
But there is definitive proof that the temple of Ezekiel is built around the body of a goddess. Like that.
Really?
Yes, Lovey. It's the center of the body, the exact center of the. First of all, it's a perfect square, right? But the exact center of the platform where the altar is, that altar is where the obelisk goes. The obelisk shoots straight up, and it has a capstone, right? The obelisk is the phallus of Asar, the Asarian phallus, right?
Right.
Now, everything between the phallus is pointing to the sky, to our sky mother. The sky mother is Het Heru. Het Heru means house of the king. Now, that's the vulva. That's the sky. like the Punani or the Yani or whatever y'all call it. To the ancients, that's your sky mother, because that's where all that's astrology.
Mother Newt.
Newt. Or Set. Right now it's Sekhmet. Back then it was Het Heru. Right now it's Sekhmet because Virgo. Virgo is going to be sitting on top of. Is going to be standing on top of the moon. Jupiter is going to enter her womb, and Jupiter is the king planet. But on top of her head, her crown, is Leo. Right? Leo is a lion. Now, when you look at Sekhmet, what's her headdress?
I got to go back to the picture, and he's talking on the promo picture. That is his particular creation, which I absolutely love. I'm pulling up the picture,
right.
So bear with me. Those that's online, it's circulating, so you should see the picture that he's referring to. So it is right. Now Leo is a lion. Sekhmet is a lion-headed goddess. She's the wife of Ptah, right? Ptah is basically next generation Asar. Sekhmet is next generation Aset. So it's still Asar, it's still Aset. And if you look at and the way to look at it is like this. The parallel learning mechanism for every child is chemistry. Everything is chemistry. All right? Now, if you look at it from that perspective, you'll understand how to write code, because the same principles that applies to chemistry applies to writing code. So let's talk about the atom, for example. The atom, or every element on the periodic table. When you get that the atomic weight is not based on the electron. Okay, the electron is too light and it's too fast, and it's outside of the nucleus. The weight is measured by the nucleus, the protons. Usually, the protons have the same number of electrons. So let's say hydrogen 1. That means it has 1 electron and 1 proton. You feel me? Now let's associate that with the household, or with psychology, or with game theory. That means that the proton is really more important than the electron. The electron would represent what you call yourself, right? You may call yourself black, or you may call yourself Hebrew, or you may call yourself a Moor, or you may call yourself whatever. But that's outside of the nucleus. The nucleus is the sacred birth of a perfect child. Okay, that's the proton. All right, that's what everything's measured by, and that's what makes a goddess, because she is not going to detach herself from the birth of a perfect child, because that's proof of God. She's not going to separate herself from her father. She knows that her father is everyone's God, but he's not everyone's father. God ain't everyone's father. You understand what I'm saying? If you got a sovereign Lord, that's a son of God. That's a watchman. He represents God on earth. If he's going to war against your enemy, he's not going to see your enemy. He's not going to see your enemy as a slave master. There's no masters before God. He's going to see him as a criminal. He's a straight criminal. That's it. There's no slave masters, no master teachers, no master nothing. That's a sovereign Lord, and that's how that white man see it. That so-called white man, that's not his invention. That's not his invention. He usurped a throne and took everything that was associated with that throne, and became a god king. That's Alexander the Great. You look at Alexander, and all blonde-haired, beautiful white man with big, broad shoulders and going to war, right? Then look at how Romans view him.
Because if you look at how Romans view him, then you can understand what America is really about. Because this republic and these brothers, man, these brothers don't want to talk about this, man. They don't want to see it for what it is. They tell you, oh, America is not a republic and all this. Yes, it is, man.
Yes, it is.
And I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. This is proof positive. Where did the republic come from? Rome. Tell me we're not looking at Roman republicans. Where did democracy come from? Athens, Greece. Tell me we're not looking at Athenian Democrats, right? So when you see a black man that's walking around, oh, I'm a Republican, he really saying he's a Roman. When you look at a black man, he's saying, oh, I'm a Democrat. He's really saying he's down with Athena and Zeus, right? And that's what's occupying the U.S. Treasury right now. But the U.S. Treasury don't belong to them.
No.
It belongs to the American public. It's just that the American public has never established what's called divine sovereignty statehood. What we have now is called state sovereignty.
Right.
So your sovereignty is, and your nationality is whatever state you're from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what fixes that. You know, as far as the 14th Amendment goes. But in actuality, that the only reason why that model has worked for them is because we never positioned ourselves to prove God in the public domain. You prove God in the public domain, and that's what make Ronald Reagan so great, because you have to use the law. You have to argue this shit in law. The only problem with that is that costs money. So you have to have a legal fund. You have to have a legal fund and a litigation strategy. Without a legal fund and a litigation strategy, they can just keep getting away with murder. They would have never been able to get away with that Wall Street shit. That crash on Wall Street, they would have never got away with that if there was a litigation strategy in place. Now, Obama, you can't look at him like he was supposed to do anything about that. He's a figurehead. That's all he don't have no power. He don't have that kind of power. He's the head of a corporation. He got to run that corporation. All right? He's not running that corporation no more. And so when you look at it from that perspective, then you know, okay, so where's our power at? I mean, how do we establish a legal fund? How do we take the U.S. Census Bureau to court and get them to answer the very questions that's necessary for us to go to the Supreme Court if we have to, right? That's how you do it. You start a 501c4 with a litigation strategy that has a blockchain, an algorithm, and a source code. Once they verify that what you have is a source code, that means you can do what Gates did. Bill Gates. What did Bill Gates do with his source code? He started Windows.
Yep.
What's his source code? C++. C++. What's that? Middle C? What do you mean, music?
Damn.
What do you mean, music? We talking music? Yes.
Carbon.
Yes, everything goes back to music. Everything's music and chemistry. Everything's music and chemistry. As soon as our children get that, then you'll be resurrecting the gods and goddesses that built this shit, because everything like there was no distinction between art and science. Art and science is one thing. There's no distinction between letters and numbers, mathematics and words, sacred geometry and sacred gematria. Sacred gematria means the letters and the words are always related to geometric shapes that form sound.
Yep.
Okay, those sounds produce platinum albums. Okay, we've been rapping. Hip hop isn't something that just came out of that shit. Been here. It came up out of our DNA. And let me tell you something about this hip hop shit that these people don't want to tell you, man. That's an invention that we never got paid for. Understand me what's good. Understand me when I tell you that that 2 turntables and a mic. Who was it? It was It wasn't cool. It wasn't Cool Herc. It was I think it was Grandmaster Flash. What he did was
because I saw the Get Down run all that down to you, but yeah.
What he did was with the turntables. With one table there's a on and off switch. He because he was a bit of an electrician. He took the wires and split it so that instead of it being on and off, it pertained to another turntable, so that he can work one side and the other side simultaneously. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to catch what Cool Herc caught. He was able to catch that yoke, right? And that anticipation that happens, right? He was able to just rock a party with that, right? And then a person could grab the mic and make it do what it do. But in that process, they created jobs.
Yep.
That wasn't there before. You wouldn't know Jay-Z and none of these niggas if it wasn't for that one thing. When he did what he did, my man dropped this. KRS-One. He did a very powerful lecture on this, man. I call it a dissertation because he actually broke down one point that everyone need to catch, man. The moment that happened, it was the only moment in time where that happened. There was no place on earth where that was happening.
Wow, that's pretty powerful.
And at some point, people they wanted to write it off. Oh, this is a fad; it ain't going nowhere. But at some point, people had to come together. I mean, top figureheads, like the top industry, music industry, everybody had to sit down and say, "Listen, this shit ain't going nowhere, man. This shit here to stay. This is another genre."
Mm-hmm.
These niggas just created a new genre.
Yep.
Before that, what do we have? Jazz.
You
know what I'm saying? Rhythm and blues. When this hip hop thing came, it resurrected what we was doing in the ancients. In the ancients, and this is verifiable, especially in India. This is verifiable. You look at the chessboard, right? You notice how there's 8 rows, right? You notice how when you rhyming, the rhyme got to fall on a particular beat. Time and time again. You may flip it every now and then, but it's got to come back to that same beat. On the chessboard, let's say that's the 8th square, where the rhyme falls. If the rhyme falls on the 8th square, that means it's going to fall on every other 8th square. You understand what I'm saying? You see where I'm coming from? Now, those are symbols. Instead of it just being a square, there's symbols there. And that's how the rhymes was written back in the day, because that's poetry. When you look at a lot of those hieroglyphs, those are spells, enchantments, and charms that involve sexuality. It involves sexuality. It involves curses. You know what I'm saying? It's like we invented curses and spells and enchantments and charms. That shit came from us. You know what I'm saying? It came back and bit us on the ass, but not without understanding that everything tends to an ascension, that everything tends to a point where it's a full awakening. It's called the Great Awakening. It's called the Kairos moment. That means a moment where only God could have did that, and that's what this astrology phenomena that's about to occur on September 23rd. That's what that's about, because that's Revelations 12, okay? But you got all these different facts and numbers and proof that the Bible was dealing in astrology. Too much proof.
Right.
You got all kind of proof of that. That's not a problem. Proving that is not a problem, right? But the awesomeness of it is that it surrounds, everything revolves around a particular astrology phenomena that takes 7,000 years to occur. Now, you can trace human history back 6,000 years. it said that when Christ returns, that he was going to reign for 1,000 years. Now, we all know that you can't just be taking the Bible literally without being able to factor in science. Right? You factor in the science, the shit makes sense for two reasons. One, it's going to occur exactly the way Revelations 12 explained it. She's standing on top of the moon, clothed with the sun, man-child in her womb. The title prescribed to the child is Michael. I say title because of what the name means. A lot of times it's not just about the name. It's what the name means. The name means who is greater than my God. That's what Michael means, right? Like Martin Luther King Jr., his real name was Michael. That was his birth name, Michael, right? Michael Jackson, right? Michael Jordan, You got these different data points that associate the meaning of that name with this particular astrology phenomena. Standing on top of the moon, clothed with the sun, man-child in her womb. The man-child, Jupiter. So that's king. That's king, right? 12 stars in her crown. Throughout this entire year, I think we went through two of the stars already. Throughout this entire year, you're going to get those 12 stars, right? At some point, some group of goddesses is going to realize that that's their moment to activate what's called a predictive market nativity. That means everything that they do is going to function just like they are lionesses. And let me tell you what lionesses do. Study lionesses. Study what they do, because not only are they having babies by their king, which is the lion, but they coordinate their births. They don't just that shit ain't random. You understand what I'm saying? They coordinate their births. They coordinate when it's going to happen or whatever. The way that they do that is what the pharaohs and all of them was talking about. See, whenever the pharaohs, whenever our ancestors used the animal kingdom to express a natural point, like the head of a cow, like a woman with the head of a cow, that's in reference to the milk, right? A man with the head of a hawk, that's in reference to whatever specialized senses that hawk has, the wings, the eyes. The head of a crocodile, which is one of my favorite netters. Sabak, because he's military. See, that all of that is relating different parts of ourselves with animal nature, as if animal nature is incorporated in us, and it's incorporated in our endocrine system. Each of the netters represents hormones. And not hormones, the glands and hormones. Okay. The hormones, the glands are secreted from the hormones are secreted from the glands, and and all of the different properties that the endocrine system represents. Those different properties or whatever, if you parallel them with the netters, there's 9 of them. If you do the parallel, you'll start seeing it in everything. For example, look at when you read each of the netters, each of the gods, like it's 5 gods and it's 4 goddesses. They're constant. I mean their properties. Like their superpowers, right? Their properties. Genesis, the 6 days of creation, and then he rested on the 7th day. Align the netters with that, and it's gonna fit perfect. The power ratios and the amplitude ratios of a logarithm index. It's going to pair off perfectly. And I mean anything. You're going to be able to apply that. It's like the Pythagorean. Pythagorean applies to every type of mathematics. That's why you can't patent it. It applies to everything. Right? But the gods and goddesses of ancient Egypt applies to everything. Why do they do that? Because back then, when you studied something, you was learning many different things at one time.
Right, at one time.
You know
it wasn't linear.
A Pharaoh wasn't just a doctor. He was a mathematician, architect. How were they able to do that if their language wasn't synthesized? If their ability to understand science wasn't synthesized? Right? It was everything was incorporated and integrated in how they spoke to each other. Now we look at that and we say, okay, that's a binary code. A lot of people don't know the hieroglyphs is a binary code.
Now you just messed me up. The hieroglyphics is a binary code.
Right, which means that you can transmit emails and shit with hieroglyphics. That's why when you look at my post, no one understands what the fuck I'm talking about. They don't see the code. They don't understand none of that for two reasons. Right? One, I'm not posting that shit for them. I'm posting it so that we can have a data bank. Because as soon as you transfer the data that I post to a data bank, it's going to establish a system called a 12 diamond cut zone delegation system, which reads just like a organizational chart, but it's Christology. It's shit I study. Now, look up 12 diamonds. You look up the 12 diamond cuts, then you'll understand what I'm talking about when I say goddesses of black household, because you can actually produce. We can make diamonds now, fully cut. You know, we can make gold now. You could turn mercury into gold right now.
Alchemy.
Right now. That's alchemy. That like we cracked that code. We cracked the cancer code. We can cure cancer right now. Right? All these codes that's broken means one thing. It means that we are not in an age where we have to discover anything. We don't have to discover or invent shit. Everything that's necessary for us to do for our children has already been discovered and has already been invented. Our whole thing right now is the ability to establish a system that integrates it according to what we want.
I get it.
So if you say, listen, and this is our children talking, right? Say your child's so smart, right? He's looking at TV and he sees a mat that they developed where if you step on the mat it generates energy, and the child says, "Hold up, what if we make a pair of shoes out of that? Doesn't that mean that every time I run around, what if I'm able to transfer that energy to the internet? Wouldn't that mean I'll be able to have an account that's storing energy? I mean, okay, you sit back and you say, you know what, you got something there, son. We're gonna drop a proposal and set up a research and development thing on that. And if that pans out, then we're gonna develop a pair of shoes, a pair of sneakers that generate energy that's stored into your account." You understand what I'm saying? It's like these babies can come up with all kinds of these babies can come up with all kinds of shit that we never thought of because we never understood Nikola Tesla. I went in on Tesla. I went in on Tesla, and let me tell you, all of these geniuses that was figuring out the Holy Spirit, they figuring out the energy units. It's all named for them. You know, amps is named after Ampere. Volts is named after Voltaire. Well, what about Tesla unit? Tesla has a unit that's named after him that allows you to that allows them to image your ass. Magnetic resonance image machine. That's a Tesla machine. They don't teach our children that. Why?
No.
Why? I'm gonna tell you why they don't teach them that. Because if they understood how to make wireless energy work, the whole market would crash.
Yeah, it would. It would have been a wrap a long time ago. That's
right.
why
So
they
the
never wanted it.
Right. So the only thing they're going to do is they're going to sit back and they say, okay, we see you got something here. Now how you going to make it work? And you're going to tell them, listen, we betting and bidding on what we make money off of bets and bids.
Mm-hmm.
We making money off of the gaming system. We don't make money off of energy. Energy is free. You making money off of energy, and you making everything grounded so that we can't cure cancer wireless.
Exactly.
Now you can't tell a whole bunch of children, that can't never happen, man. You can't cure cancer wirelessly, or you can't cure cancer with a laser. They'll bring up some shit on your ass with their little smartphone, embarrass you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they will.
You know what I'm saying? The only question is, what are you doing about it? Now that I showed you, what are you doing about it? Now you got a bunch of parents. I'm gonna go to work because if I didn't have this job, we wouldn't have lights and all this. That's what they doing to you. They're killing you on your time.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to work with those. You got to be able to work with those who spent all their time figuring this shit out, so that the children will be able to inherit that, because that's what they need right now. They need something that allows them to be able to gather 20 years of knowledge in 1 year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let's say this brother put in 50 years of work. Now all that child got to do is inherit the curriculum that allows them to get that in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Now you do that. That means that you're going to be able to make your banking system work. Why? Because it's not about the system that was here before you inherited this. All you doing is contrasting what makes your system different from theirs. Now the main thing is capitalism. Capitalism. That's the key word right here. All right? American capitalism. You're not allowed to say that. You got to be able to look that white man in the face and call him a liar, man, because he's not white. He's Caucasian. You're going to tell him, listen, you can't use that word American. Check out what happened when Obama did what he did. Check out what Trump did. They got this House Resolution 193 where they trying to what they call it, the American Sovereignty Act,
right?
That allows them to be able to denounce the UN. I'm gonna tell you why, because
come on, bring it, brother.
I'm gonna tell you why, because that undrip shit is scary. All right, that United Nations Declaration for the Rights of Indigenous People. It's scary to them.
God damn it, it's powerful. I told the family that. They just don't know how that. But go ahead, brother. Sorry.
Right, and the reason why it's scary is because that was founded 1967. As soon as they passed a law that basically says that you're a civilly dead entity, right? As far as your citizenry goes, you're dead. So that's their way of being able to keep that 3/5 tax going. All right, because once they lost that 3/5 tax, they had to figure out another way. They had to figure out another way to keep being able to do that. So that's how they did it. A decedent estate is what it's called, right? Now what UNDRIP does now that Obama did two things. He signed UNDRIP. That's an executive order that Trump can't undo.
Good.
All right, that's fixed. Then you have House Resolution 4238, which it forces the federal government to recognize our corporate sovereignty. That means if you start a minority enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me straighten out a couple of brothers out there that's talking this minority shit. Like they got a problem with the word minority. Let's talk mathematics on this minority thing. All right. If you're a minority and you have a majority stake in something, that means everything between the term minority and majority stake is straight bread. It could be trillion. It could be $6 trillion. Like we're due to inherit a $6 trillion. We can inherit a $6 trillion market tomorrow. All right. Black people make up 12% of the population in America. Right now, if we have a monopoly on something, that is a market that everybody wants, that everybody don't mind trading in, don't mind. That means we have a majority stake in that. this simple fact that we are a minority. The simple fact that we make up 12% of the population means that the other percentages, we seeing bread off of that. Because we only 12%. So how you going to have a problem with that word minority and you make up 12% of the population? Oh, that word minority, that's how they get you. How they getting you when you look at what you
right.
look at
when
what you
you
contributed.
Have the market. Right.
Look at what you've contributed to America's brand. Not you, but your ancestors. Come on, man.
Right.
Look at what they did to us, man. I hate that word black. I'm not black. Okay, but on the census for the past 100 and some odd years, that's how the Census Bureau recorded it. All right, that history matters. The reason why that history matters is because they can't get away with that shit. They can't get away with making you 3/5 of a human being.
Right, and profited off of it, built their fucking system on it.
Wall Street. Boom.
Yep. Makes
we talking.
sense.
Look how much money we talking. We talking $200 trillion. That's not going nowhere, man. So please understand who your leaders are, because any black man that's out there talking that dumb shit, the sky is falling, we gotta wait till they supporting Trump because they know Trump is going to bring out the ugly in a way that they think is going to give them a position to be able to come in and change things. They ain't changing shit. We still talking $200 trillion. That money is not going nowhere.
Right.
Okay. People still going to want lights. People still going to want, and they're going to want they're going to want to switch it to a system that allows them to keep that modern technology thing going. Why? Because this internet thing is about to become a hologram. That hologram been there. Wi-Fi been there. Wi-Fi ain't nothing new. Wi-Fi is a wave frequency. It's a natural phenomenon. All right? The term Wi-Fi, okay, they may own that. They may have a trademark on that. But what makes Wi-Fi work? 2 gigahertz. They don't own 2 gigahertz.
No.
They don't own the light spectrum. That light spectrum been there. They just tapped that. And slapped the trademark on it and built the industry. That's all they did. So when you look at a sister that's sitting back saying to herself, listen, you see these suits I'm wearing? I'm a corporate goddess. That's her attitude. Why? Because industry is where it's at. We are over-indexed. We are over-indexed in the public sector. Everybody want to work for the state. Fuck out of here with that working for the state shit, man. How long you gonna be working for the state?
Right.
Oh, I got benefits. I got benefits. You ain't creating jobs.
Right.
You can only create jobs with an industry. Otherwise, your child is gonna wind up working for someone else.
Yep. Nothing to pass down.
Right. So how you gonna pass that down when you never, not once? I mean, just name one. Just name one black man that said, listen, you see what they did with Brexit? How did they do that? They had what's called a referendum. Why haven't the black community ever come together to do a referendum for them to have their own market? The market that they stole from us. Right. Because it's not like that can't happen. You just got to know what to call it. The term is, the correct term is direct democracy capitalism. Why? Because this is a republic democracy. If this is a republic democracy, then you split those two terms in half and have pitched one against the other and choose sides. As far as the private sector goes, the Republicans rule. Republican capitalism is what we're experiencing here. Republican capitalism is the root of poverty, of sickness. That's Republican capitalism. That's authoritarian capitalism. That's a fucking plutocracy. That's not a democracy. That's a plutocracy, right? But what is the democracy capitalism version? And why haven't we ever established that? Democracy capitalism means that if we all own the patent, We all get equal shares. We all get income off of it. You know what I'm saying? We don't need welfare. You don't need that. Like welfare is a type of democracy capitalism. The welfare system, right? You don't need that version. What about the private sector version of the welfare system? You feel me? That's when everyone owns an equal share of the company, right? Even the boss, the boss he gets the same amount of shares as everyone else. That's democracy capitalism. That's what we're supposed to be experiencing. It doesn't mean that everyone receives the same paycheck. It's not socialism. We don't get I still make more money than you, nigga. It's just that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't have to you don't have to go on welfare to supplement your income.
Right.
You know, so like Walmart. A lot of people working for Walmart get food stamps. With this system we talking with democracy capitalism, that don't happen. You don't need that. You don't need food stamps because everything's based on the words. It's based on the letters and numbers and the facts. Why? Because all that money, like I said, $200 trillion, family. That's how much the energy market is. $220 trillion. What are they doing with that energy market? What are they doing? They burning coal to generate electricity. What did Nikola Tesla do? He said he created he used the waterfall the power from a waterfall to turn turbine and create the same amount of electricity. But he's using water. Yeah. That's clean energy. They burning coal, right? Now when we speak into a microphone, we have the technology to make that run like water in the internet. So the same way Tesla was able to create he didn't create a waterfall. That waterfall was there. Niagara Falls was there.
Right. He just tapped into the energy.
We can create virtual Niagara Falls with the words that are coming out of our mouth.
Damn. So I'm a wealthy woman.
To turn the turbine. You understand what I'm saying? And the reason why that can happen is because one person speaking into a microphone, right, can generate energy. But that's only because that the words are directed at the same account, right? Now, let's say 144,000 people are speaking all at the same time, and it's going into the same account. What's going to happen? That's just going to compound itself. Right. If it compounds itself, that means it's going to have a greater intensity than it would if it's just one person. That's 144,000 people. All I need to do is turn a turbine to generate electricity, family. That's all the fuck we need to do. Turn a turbine.
That's where the 144,000 come into play.
Who? Yeah. Well, the 144,000 come into play because that's 12 by 12. So you got matrices. You got different matrices that create the double helix, right? So you start with the 7 by 7. 8 by 8 is the chessboard. Everything happens at the 8 by 8. 9 by 9 is the magic square. The 9 by 9. If you turn the periodic table into a 9 by 9, you're going to see a magic square. The numbers is going to be reading back and forwards the same. A diagonal is going to every atomic number is going to be divisible by 9, and it's going to read like transitional metal, inert gas, transitional metal, inert gas, transitional metal, inert gas. The transitional metal transmits the data speed of light. The inert gas stops it. So that stop go is digital, and that stop go digital effect is a laser. That's what that is. It's a laser. It's a laser pin. Now, because what we're talking about is from 7 by 7, 8 by 8, 9 by 9. Then you have 11 by 11. That's the ones and zeros. That's the binary code.
The binary code.
Soon as it hit 12 by 12, that's called the 77th degree. For example, 7 by 7 in the exact center is called the 22nd degree. 8 by 8, the exact center is called the 33rd degree. 9 by 9, the exact center is called the 44th degree. 11 by 11, No, 10 by 10 is called the 55th degree, the exact center. And the reason why you have to pinpoint the center is because that's where the molecules and the double helix, that's where the action happens, in the exact center. You got to capture the center with whatever the degree is. 11 by 11, 6 by 66 degree. So there's your 666. You know, carbon is doing the damn thing right now. But that 12 by 12, which gives you 144, that 12 by 12, 77 degree, that's the cutoff frequency. That's where you have, like if we were talking about a gyroscope, and we was talking a gyroscope right now, that's where the blades would be spinning around whatever it is that you just turned into a three-dimensional image, because it went from 2D to 3D. As soon as you get that spin, now it's 4D because it's happening in the virtual world as well as the natural world. The natural world is our three-dimensional world. We're 3D. You feel me? That's the reason why sign language is so important, because sign language is a 3D language. You need your hands to speak it, right? But if we was talking sign language right now, you would be reading my thoughts without hearing my voice. That's a fourth dimensional. That's the fourth dimensional effect of a 3D language. Now, if we just straight talking, that's 1D. It's only 2D once the words appear up on a piece of paper or on a screen. You know, then it's 2D. But it's just straight thought. A straight thought is 1D or 1 hertz. You understand what I'm saying? So that means that what our ancestors was into was turning an entire area, like all of Egypt, is an actual motherboard. Everything pertains to some type of energy signature. It's not, and it works just like a motherboard. They figured that out, you know. And the motherboard always pertains to like let's say the pyramid. You find a pyramid, you'll find that there's an entrance to the pyramid. That entrance is always pointed at what's called the center of heaven, where Polaris is at right now. That part in the sky is where all the stars revolve around it, like the eye of a storm. So there's a point when you look up in heaven. Right now is where Polaris is. So if you ever looking in heaven, you look for the star Polaris, and you'll see that's the point that the pharaohs, the entrance to the pharaohs sarcophagi is always pointed there. Why? Because to them that's where heaven is. The mathematics of it, you know, like the way everything spins around that central point. So what's that called? That's called true north. Well, there's a true rib. That true rib is where is Adam, where they talk about Adam and Eve, right? So the connect between Babylon, Egypt, and the ancient Hebrews, all of that is a mathematical sequence that had to be that involves understanding the hieroglyphics in a way where you can follow specific instructions and see what it leads to. They didn't know that what they was actually talking about is DNA. They didn't know that then. Now they understand. Oh shit! A blockchain is actually follows the mathematics of chromosomes. Now your chromosome. Just look up the word chromosome. Look up the word DNA. Look up the word protein synthesis. Then you'll realize they all inside each other. They all needed to code for one another. But the DNA is like microscopic. The chromosome, that's macroscopic. Like you could pick that up with a microphone, with the microscope. You could pick that up. You understand what I'm saying? So understanding the mathematics of that, there's 22 pairs, right? It takes 23 pairs. It takes 23 Teslas to get 1 gigahertz. With 1 gigahertz, you can have You can get access to Bluetooth and Wi-Fi without tapping the electric grid whatsoever. Now, where's that money going? This is what people got to understand. That's why you got a lot of people that talk like they don't want to have nothing to do with money. They don't want to have nothing to do with currency. They want everything to go back to the bartering system. They want everything to go back to living off the land. None of that makes sense. None of it makes sense because one, we gods and goddesses, man. We have to do what the government can't do. We have to do with the private sector what the government can't do. At one time, the government, they could do the whole spaceship thing, build spaceships and all. They don't generate that type money to do none of that no more. That's why you ain't seeing them going to space and all that. You ain't seeing them doing all these mega projects. It takes the private sector to do that, and the private sector ain't going to do shit if it's going to affect their bottom line. That means there have to be a new private sector, and that new private sector is us establishing our own industry. We got to compete with them. We have to compete with them. There's no running to Africa. There's no running to China. There's nowhere to run. First of all, Africa is going to look at you like you stupid because, one, you're in the belly of the beast. People are fighting to come here, and you fighting to get out because you're a disgruntled Negro. That makes no sense. It makes no sense. Understand me when I tell you that industry it saves the planet. Like if we claim what God intends for us to claim, we save the planet. Like we go to Africa with them looking at us like y'all resurrected our ancestors, man. Y'all are our ancestors.
This is deep.
That's how they gonna look at us. That's how they looking at us now. When they see Jay-Z and all them making that money and they setting trends. Like they looking at us like, wow, y'all doing it because y'all wouldn't have been able to do that here. If the Arabs ran this shit, there'd be no such thing as hip hop. You understand what I'm saying? You have different types of slave masters, and the black man had to choose which one he was going to fight for. And some of them chose to fight for Rome for a particular reason. They didn't like the way the Arabs was treating them. Because the Arabs, they had a problem with you. I mean, if you wasn't a warrior, they had a problem with you. They was castrating you. But here in America, they was breeding your ass like a horse.
Right. Like
they put the big black man with the big black woman. You had thighs and all hips and all that. They was trying to build a super Negro. That was their attitude here. And one of them crackers said something about that and got in trouble. He was a commentator. And he was speaking the truth. It was. Yeah, I remember that.
I remember that.
You're supposed to be.
It wasn't politically correct, but he
it wasn't politically correct. Right. But he touched on the fact that a lot of people don't want to see for what it's worth. Some of these brothers, man, were bred that way, man. Some of these brothers that's playing for the NFL, NBA, whatever, they getting their bread because there's no more slavery. How you gonna repeat that? Okay, you got the 3/5 thing that works for you. You got to come up with another way of doing that. Okay, the slave thing, the whole, selling black man as stock. You have to come up with a new way of doing that. That's the NFL. That's the NBA. That's now you open up a whole new market where our genius can express itself instead of dying and wasting away. It can express itself. Where do you think those first of all, they're hurting themselves, right? Now you got this motion capture thing that can simulate the exact thing that they're going through. All they need is a telekinetic treadmill. That's all they need, where they running in place and they're able to make what's called multi-directional moves, right? So it's not your regular type of treadmill. You need a treadmill, you running in place. It's the telekinetic treadmill where it's a bunch of balls. When you move, it moves. So it simulates you running across a football field when you're really running in place. But when we see you on the internet, you're running across a football field, right? When the smack thing happened and when you get hit or whatever, it really looks like you got hit. Okay, we can live with that. That means
like
you don't have
games,
to get hurt.
like they doing in the simulated games now.
Right,
or
but
how
now,
when they make the movies with the green screens. Mm-hmm.
Right, but what I'm talking about now is some real time shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For example, let's say me and you sat down and we wrote a script, and our whole purpose for writing the script was to have everyone be involved in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where you at. You just log
I
on.
knew you was going there.
and you know what I mean? And you log into the movie, and it's like, because the script is written so perfect, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's so up to date as far as timing and what's going on in the world and all this. Now you can plug into the movie, and it's like you're a part of the crowd. You're in it, right? Now that's where we're headed. We know we're headed there. So why not claim it now? Why not own it now? Own it on paper now, because if own it as a research and development program. Own it as a 501c4 protocol.
That mirrors Hollywood. That shuts them the fuck down in the game.
Exactly. Right, and the reason why it shuts them down, because that blockchain, that smart contract, that is what changes the game, because it puts the power in it cuts out the middleman, and it puts the power in our hands. Now it's like, okay, because right now they can say, oh, well, you got to understand, man, black people are not good writers. You know, they good actors. Okay, now we're writing our own shit, and it's just as good as yours, if not better.
Mm-hmm. And we don't
what
need
does that mean?
you to be the distribution.
Right. Now,
we don't need
when I was
you at all.
Right. Now, when I was growing up, I'm an artist, right? I always wanted to do the Marvel Comics thing. When I looked at when I got into it and I looked into it, I saw they had a monopoly. There was no way to distribute your shit, man. They had a monopoly on the whole. There was no way to make your money. They had a monopoly on the distribution. The same thing with music, and I understand how that works. But now, with this right here, with being able to have our own internet and know what we want to do with it, this is what we want to do. We want our own. This is what we want to do. We want a Tesla unit. SI, that means standard, international standard, Tesla unit, right? SI, right? 23 Teslas makes 1 gigahertz. We want that to be our square root. That means as soon as it turns on, your smartphone turns on, right? And you see it. That little symbol or whatever it is, it represents 23 Teslas. It represents 1 gigahertz. It turned on your smartphone, right? And it's a unit that you own. Like, black people established that. The black community established that 1 unit. It's just 1 unit. That's all it is. But the beautiful thing about that 1 unit is that if you times that 1 unit by anything, it's gonna come back to 9. 23.76 is the square root. I'm gonna tell you why. 432 hertz, the scale of my eye. The problem with that, the reason why we have 440 hertz as a standard, is because you can't tune all your instruments with it. You can't tune everything with it. There's gonna be noise. There's gonna be a noise factor there. That noise factor is 23 cents. It's all measured in cents. It's 23.76 cents, right? That's called interference. That's what we call that. If you cancel that out with 23 cents of a harmonic, you replace the noise with a harmonic. You tune it out. You cancel it out. There's no more noise. There's no more interference, right? That means that the 432 hertz scale works. It works now. You don't need the 440 hertz scale no more. So anyone who use your 432 hertz and you cancel out, because music is digital now. You feel me? That's how come you can cancel out. You can cancel out with the internet. You can cancel it out with a virtual acoustics. You can replace the Wolf Fifth with virtual acoustics, and now you make 432 hertz work. That means anyone who makes a platinum album with your scale, you seeing bread off of that. Because they didn't use the 440 hertz scale, they used your scale.
Right.
You making money, that means you're making money off of your own music. You own that music, you own that scale. There's a hidden scale, 396 hertz. That's Tesla. Tesla was obsessed.
That's Tesla. Mm-hmm.
Tesla was obsessed with those three numbers. The only thing about the only thing about 396 hertz is that it sits directly in between the 432 hertz and the 440 hertz. It forms an analemous, a figure 8 between the two, and it does it with an inaudible frequency, the sound that you can't hear. That's the shit. You own that, and you own the whole digital music industry. Why? Because now you're using music to digitize your images.
Damn.
They're not doing that now. They're not digitizing 3D images and opening up 3D files with music.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Now, the type of money that's coming out of that allows you to be able to sit down and do business with someone like Japanimation. Listen, we need y'all to animate. We need y'all to animate this hip hop flick for us. They're not gonna have a problem with it because they know two things about us. We're going 100% biometric. That's another thing about this Bitcoin thing and this blockchain thing. You come out with a blockchain system and it get hacked. That's the first thing they're gonna try and do: hack your shit.
Right.
Otherwise, you're gonna be making too much money. Soon as you get hacked, and that shit happened. It got hacked, and niggas started breaking in to their accounts and started getting that. I think it was like $5 million or so. All right. That's why it's got to be 100% biometric.
Biometric.
Right?
Got you.
Right. If it's 100% biometric, that means that the only way to hack it is a system called biohacking. That means you're hacking into my brain.
Right.
You're hacking into my MRI file. My MRI file is connected to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When I speak, it's speaking. You know, when anything I do with anything that I do, you know, if I'm making love, the part of my brain that lights up, you know, it's going to light up in a verse. So that's me all day, 24/7. That's me. You can't hack that. You can't hack me.
Right.
There's only one me.
Right.
You can't. There's only one me, and that's generated off of my DNA. You don't have my DNA. You don't have my DNA code, right? So if you need my DNA code, you need my voice signature, you need my brainwave signature, you need all this different shit. Plus, I'm not the only one in the system. Let's say I got five. Let's say I got 5 sisters that's running my corporation, right? That's me. That's me. That other brother got 5 sisters running his corporation. He links with me, so that's 10 sisters around us. You got to hack all of us at the same time,
right?
Just to be able to hack our blockchain.
Right, and that's just to get through the door. So you got to do all of that just to get through the door, and we're gonna catch you if you can hack that firewall. Right. And by the time, first of all, because you're using the electric grid, right? We're using a hologram system that allows us to cure cancer wirelessly. I'm gonna tell you how. You're gonna see a commercial. If you want, I've seen this commercial recently. This shit is fire because this is a vision that I had. It's called immunotherapy. Immunotherapy allows energy to boost your immune system to kill the cancer cells naturally with your own immune system. Now, with your antibodies. In this commercial, the antibodies look like the sun, and the cancer look like a hologram. And you can see that they like join together, and eventually the sun or the antibody overtook the cancer or the hologram.
The hologram was lit up like sky blue, like this bioluminescent blue. That was the hologram. That's Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
The sun was the antibody, and it consumed the Cancer and formed a hologram around it. That means that it's going to keep doing that until every Cancer in your body has been absorbed and obliterated, as if you're made of solid light. You know, as if you got solar energy inside your body that can deal with cancer, that can deal with any, and how that works is the RNA to your DNA, because your RNA is the reverse. The RNA is the reverse of your DNA. You know what I'm saying? So if your DNA is 1 to 6, your RNA is 6 to 1. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your RNA is 6, 5, 4, 3. It's the reverse. So why is that? Because it needs to reverse transcription of whatever is attacking your system. It needs to reverse the transcription of that. So let's say cancer has a DNA, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to reverse the transcription of that DNA and turns it into a retrovirus. So it may start off a virus, but your RNA turns it into a retrovirus. Now, that means one is a natural phenomenon, so you're not supposed to own that. You're not supposed to have a patent on no type of DNA. Mm-hmm. But if you don't know that, you're not going to challenge the government. You're not going to challenge this corporation. First, you got to challenge the government, because the government has no business allowing a corporation to own DNA.
Right.
But who owns your DNA?
You do.
You understand what I'm saying? No, you don't. Nobody owns their DNA. The government owns a percentage, because no one established a system that allows you to own your DNA.
I see where you're going with it.
You understand what I'm saying? Now, understand me when I tell you, your DNA is a binary code. Your DNA is an algorithm, right? So if we have a system that's based on DNA and chromosome and all that, that's blockchain, right? Now that blockchain, that means that all we need is one source code that applies to all of us, and we'll be able to protect our DNA. Only way that happens is if we're all 90% the same anyway, as far as the DNA goes. And that's a fact. You understand what I'm saying? DNA, our DNA is like 90% the same. So that other 10% is your blockchain, is what blocks you from being hacked. But as far as being able to receive a blessing or receive energy to heal your body or whatever, all you need is an XNA. What's XNA? Extraterrestrial DNA. That's God. God ain't human. That X means that's like that DNA has super symmetry. Like, that's not human. That shit's perfect. And it's made of light, and it's transmitting light. It's made of pure light, pure sound, pure whatever. If it's a pure perfect fifth, if it's a hologram fifth, then you're able to generate an audible frequency that makes you feel good. It's going to be euphoric. That's the reason why you have drugs that make you feel that high. You know that there's sounds that can induce that effect. So whatever that sound is, whatever that feeling is that they call Holy Spirit or whatever, what if that has a DNA sequence that's made out of pure light that's already encrypted in the fabric of space-time, and all we need to do is tap it the way that they tap in the light frequency, the electromagnetic spectrum, because the electromagnetic spectrum contains static, friction, heat, radioactivity, sickness, disease. What if there's a flip side of that? What if there's a biomagnetic spectrum that we can own and prove that it exists? Like this laser right here is biomagnetic. It's not electromagnetic. charges the air and allows us to have access to the internet wirelessly. Where's that money going to go? It has to be a banking system. It has to be a blockchain. Talk to me, Lovey. Talk to me.
Get a man about 10 bombs. Give him about 10, at least 10 bombs. Put your hand on that button and get that man at least 10 bombs. Yeah. Oh boy.
Talk to me, family.
I think Rhonda's top piece is just blown off. Hey, it's blown off to the point where she can't even give you the rest of your bombs, man. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's off the chain right there. That's off the chain, Captain. That right there is off the chain.
People don't realize now. Is she there?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm talking my ass off. I put myself on mute, child. I'm so excited. Okay. Woo! So one to get in the Q family.
You blow your top piece off so hard you muted yourself.
I'm telling you, he was just hitting so hard, back to back with the mathematics, with the science, with the metaphysics. I'm like, damn, with the spirituality, he was hitting back to back. Okay, so the blockchain, are you saying that basically that's what can be? I know that it's going to be the data bank. It's really going to be the next financial system that's replacing, or what it will eventually replace the shit that they have now. Okay. So this is really what all of what they're calling us the conspiracy theories. This is resetting the quote currency. We're totally taking it to another level. Can that blockchain, are we saying we're going to patent that blockchain that we come up with?
Yeah, because otherwise it's going to be incremental. It's not going to hit us in time for us to do anything with it.
Yeah.
You see the top industries, they making their moves, and you're starting to see states starting to make their move.
Yep.
So when we make our move, it has to be a 501c4. It has to be a public. It has to be a political education organization for a patent. So you're exactly right. Once you patent it, now it's not just major corporations and states making a move. It's an entire community that's saying, listen, we're getting in on this too, right? And we're getting in on this in a way where we are able to have what's called the whole research and development thing based on based on a reserve fund. And I need everyone to make that a part of their vocabulary. A reserve fund. Let me tell you what that means. Right here where I'm at, out here in there's what's called a subdivision, sub-political division. And what they did was they wanted to fund solar panels for houses and stuff like that, right? And they wanted to create jobs. So they taxed the companies that was creating creating pollutants. And the reason why they was able to do that because public law 42, Public Health 42 Title 42, Public Health Title 42, had a code that declared CO2 a pollutant. So that gave the political division, the subdivision, legal standing to tax these corporations that was spewing too much of this CO2 into the air, because they was able to prove this is indeed a pollutant. So in order for them to prove that, they had to show how this is harmful to the public, right?
Now, it's interesting that it's 42, but I'm sorry. Go ahead on. That is.
Exactly.
Yeah. But go ahead on, brother. I didn't mean to break your train of thought.
They so when they did that, they generated like $2 million, quick. That's how fast the money came to them, and they used that to start funding their solar panel program. In the same way they did that, we have to be able to tell them, listen, we're going to tax the CO2 from the spoken word. Why? Because this is a data plan. That means that when they pay for the data plan, it's a service. When they pay for the data plan, every time they speak into the microphone, every time they speak into the cell phone, that data plan is going to be sensitive to the brainwave content of every word that comes out of their mouth. Why? Because there's 22 electrons in CO2. Those 22 electrons allow us to be able to create a algorithm directly from that.
22 manifestation.
Right, into their account. Now, the same way they was able to generate $2 million in like a month's time to start funding their program, we'll be able to do the exact same shit. But they was able to do it as a reserve fund. That means ours have to be a database reserve fund. That means that the reserve fund is for the database,
right?
For funding the database. That's it. That means it's a nonprofit. That's what a 501c4 is.
Or
501c4 is a 501c4 is a nonprofit database reserve fund. Once you establish that, then you can create jobs, because now you're able to fund the programs, the research and development programs.
That's where the R&D come into play. Yep.
Right, research and development. Now, and then the jobs is created. Now, what that does is, anytime someone comes and do a startup, their chances of success is going to increase. Right now, if you do a startup, your chances of success is not good.
Yeah, because of lack of funding.
Right. Not just that. It's just that the market is saturated. Your business plan, everything's got to be so tight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could get funding and still fail. It's your system.
True. That's true.
I think it's the whole system myself. But that's just my opinion.
I would agree with you.
My whole thing is, make sure that when you do the database, that all the sisters and brothers realize that it's specifically for coding everything to the same thing. That's why you see. That's why when you see my post, you start to see you start to see the Unicode system.
Yes.
And it's twofold. You got the Unicode system that looks like a chessboard, and then you got the Unicode system that looks like a laser. Looks like it has a bunch of numbers in the middle, and around it is the Unicode. Right? That's the laser part. Now, what you have there is what's called a Q&R code, quick response code. You go to your nearest next time you go shopping for food or whatever, you're gonna start seeing these little square codes on the cereal boxes and everything, right? And every time you see that, pay close attention to it. Take note, because that's the blockchain system in a nutshell.
Oh shit! Yeah. Not that barcode shit, family.
Right.
I know
exactly
the square thing, and it look like with the little squiggly lines in it. Shit,
I know
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right. What he's talking about.
Right. That's the blockchain system. That's how the whole big. Right. That's how the whole.
Let me ask you a question. What? All right, so we what we've exposed with that one thing like that is that it's already in use, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's how the Bitcoin thing started. It started with that because what that is like it started off in Japan where they building cars and shit. You got your little assembly line, so they came up with a better way of making that work, and they used it because they was using the barcode thing. They was using the whole old system. They invented a new way of doing it, and that new way just blew up. And then they started coming up on their currency, where you started seeing that little code on their currency. But here, it came in the form of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, the Bitcoin can't work without the blockchain. Now they realizing that the blockchain is not just for Bitcoin. The blockchain is basically for directing the processing power that it takes for Bitcoin in other directions where, it's for business now. Like it's process, like anything that's going on. Let's say you start a 501c4, you got obligations to meet with the federal government. The old way you did that, like if you start a business or whatever, the old way you did that was you would fill out the forms on what you sold, your tax forms, your tax papers and all that. That blockchain does all that shit for you.
Mm-hmm.
It takes care of all that for you. It's automated.
So what that does then in a sense is it indexes everything.
Exactly. Right. It classifies, indexes everything in a way where, whatever money they need, they get it. Whatever they need to understand, whatever, they get it. It's not, and that blockchain is going to tell you when you're in trouble or how to avoid getting in trouble.
Yeah,
it's going to tell you how to avoid getting in trouble.
Another thing.
It's going to become serious.
That's pretty close to like a trademark, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But what it's going to become is it's going to become artificial intelligence. That's what it's on its way to becoming. It's on its way to becoming artificial intelligence because, and I need you to understand that the internet that we have now, that's not artificial intelligence. Only time you really talking artificial intelligence is when you talking Siri.
Yep.
But that's what we're talking. The whole internet acts like Siri.
This stuff.
That's different.
Yeah.
That's different from the worldwide. That's different from www.com.
Totally different. That makes what the www.com very, very archaic.
And that's the problem. That's what's so scary because one, you have to think like you're not only playing chess, all right?
Mm-hmm.
You're in the battlefield, and you're looking at everything that you have to hit. You're looking at all the points that you have to hit because they coming, and they're gonna come hard body because you fucking with their bottom line.
Right.
We talking $98 billion right out the gate because that's how much Wi-Fi is. Now, you're going to slap the shit out of Wi-Fi, you're going to slap the shit out of Bluetooth, and you're going to look this beast right in the face, and you can't do that with a bunch of, disgruntled Negroes.
No, you can't.
Because they not thinking. They not thinking. You know what I'm saying? They got a problem with America. They not seeing America as, they see America as spelt with KKK. America with the KKK in it. That's not what this is about, man. If this was about that, then they wouldn't be feeling like they wouldn't be feeling like they in trouble. They in trouble. See, when your enemy is in trouble, you got to make your move, man. You can't just be sitting back constantly talking about how shit was when he had it going on. Right now, that 1% problem affects them just as much as it affects us. And Trump is not their savior, right? Nope. Trump is not their savior. Sooner or later, they're going to figure that shit out. And when they do, there have to be an answer there that makes complete sense. This Tesla shit makes complete sense because they know that that's technology that they own. They know that the public owns that. Okay, just take let me tell you. Let me tell you this. Tesla. Let's say Tesla owned 700 patents, right? And those 700 patents inspired 90% of our modern lifestyle, along with Tesla, with Einstein. So we got with Tesla and Einstein. That's 90% of our modern lifestyle today, right? That's contributed to the minds of two men, just two, right? That lived that put it down 100 years ago. Okay, any patent that's over 100 years old is public domain.
Oh, shit. Go ahead, brother.
Let's put a value on those patents. If you put a value on those patents, you can't stop at $98 billion because that's just Wi-Fi.
Right.
You got to make that. You got to at least extend that to at least $6 trillion because they spent $6 trillion on the war in Iraq, and the foreign nations that bought our debt, they bought up at least $6 trillion of our debt. That $6 trillion. $6 trillion of the U.S. debt securities market is owned by foreign nations. China got Arabia got it. Japan got some of it. You know, so you got to make it about $6 trillion. All right, that's $6 trillion. Okay, that the American public that the American public, I want you to understand what that means. That's different from United States Corporation. United States Corporation, that's the government and the private sector with Wall Street. Wall Street is not the American public.
No.
The U.S. government is not the American public. Let me tell you who the American public is. You all you got to do is look at the national debt clock, right? And that's using nuclear technology. That's an atomic clock family. Okay, that's working off of the vibrations of an atom, just to make sure that they got the how much we owed down to the cork of the atom. Right now, let's say we're at $20 trillion right now. That as far as the deficit goes, the portion of that deficit that represents our homes, our households, our marriages, our interpersonal relations. That portion, that's America.
That makes sense. Okay, I'm going to make a quick announcement. Hold that thought, brother. For those of you that are online, we're going into overtime in 5 minutes. So if you want to continue to listen to Brother James, you have to dial 929-477-3858. You have 5 minutes left. That number is 929-477-3858. So, Brother James, you do have a caller, 661. Do you mind if I open up the line to the caller?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Okay, 661. 661, your line is open.
Hello, family. This is Sandra.
Hey, sis. Welcome back.
Thank you so very much for that. And thank you so much for this show. I really am learning a lot. Ooh. And I have a question. Based on my recent experiences with CO2, when you go into the 396 hidden hertz, and a person has a death experience or a near-death experience for most folks. Now, it's a musical, it's something that resonates in the the DNA and in the system, which brings about the pure light, which brings about their experiences. They say about near-death experiences, I've seen the light, and I was going towards the light and all this kind of stuff. So is the 396, can it be measurable in song? Is it just all telepathy, or can it be measurable?
Yeah, it's measurable. It's 396 hertz means cycles per second. So it's 396 cycles per second.
Okay.
So it's measured in seconds.
So when it's mixed with that extraterrestrial DNA,
right, it becomes a double loop where it becomes a figure 8. It creates a figure 8. It creates a figure 8. It's the inaudible figure 8 between 432 hertz, which is the ancient Pharaoh scale, the scale of Ma'at, and the 440 hertz, what they call the Rockefeller scale, that they're using to make music with now. That's the standard.
That means that some words, some tones that you have within yourself that you are probably internalizing into your DNA daily when you use certain music or certain words like Hebrew. So but with us it's the syllables. A-E-I-O-U. Yeah, the A-E-I-O-U. A-E-I-O-U, the syllables. That's where the code happens at. That's where the coding happens. That's where the curses happen too. You're transmitting curses through the syllables. Right. That's true. So I'm thinking that when a person has a near death or has died and see the light, that is the point where they have a choice to go into the pure light or return to wherever they need to go. And I say that from experience, very, very last few weeks' experience. That would probably be the reason that death can be defeated, is by using the pure light and the hertz of the 396 that's hidden.
Now that's
right.
interesting.
The reason why I would tend to agree is because those double loops, that figure 8, that happens every year. If you take a picture of the sun at the same time and the same location,
I remember you saying
every once a week, at the end of the year, it's going to form a figure 8 in heaven. So the sun is already forming that, right?
Right.
The same figure 8 that's being formed by the sun every year is the same figure 8 that's being formed between the 432 hertz and the 440 hertz with the 396. This is the reason why Tesla said, if you ever want to understand
the
universe, right?
Yep.
You have to understand the numbers 396.
Yep.
Right, and because I believe we all have light bodies, and I believe we're going to prove it, because the sonogram, as far as I'm concerned, is an indication of that. The MRI file, the magnetic resonance image of ourselves, is an indication of that. But now, but the next step is to be able to sustain a light body image of yourself, where when you walk around, it's actually walking around and you know it. You're aware of it. You're conscious of it. Now, as soon as that happens, then you'll understand with the whole business with the light thing, because that means that if light can become solid and sound can become solid, that means, because your heart beats down to a billionths of a nanosecond, right?
Right.
That means that can be captured. If your last heartbeat, if your last heartbeat just before you died can be captured, then you don't need a defibrillator to reboot.
No, you don't.
You're going to be able to use your light body. Your light body will have captured your last heartbeat, because that's you. It's going to capture your brain waves. It's going to capture everything that you was experiencing right up to the moment that you died. So that's stored. That you have a record, and that record is going to be used to reboot you.
Got you.
And plus, the sun is right in the middle of this proton and hydrogen bombardment of the planet.
Right. So what's happening with us is we have too much static electricity going on. We have too much, we got too much of the mortality part of us consuming everything. So there is no connect to our light body. Some of us can only, some of us experience it because we're spiritual. But then you have those who, then you have those who, it sounds like science fiction to them. But yet they can see, but yet they can see themselves as a hologram, and that's okay. But you're not.
Yep.
You're really not saying anything.
The same, right?
It's the same. I mean, you're already being. Yeah, you're already being set up to understand who the Holy Spirit is. But because you choose, a lot of these people choose to be programmed. But I was convinced as soon as I saw an MRI file. These doctors, they bring up an image of your brain and any activity that you experience. The part of your brain that's responsible for that lights up. Like if I laugh, the part of my brain that's responsible for that, it lights up. Now they studying my brain, and I'm somewhere else. I'm inside some tube, and they're able to see, and the same thing with my blood. They could take a tube of my blood, put it in another room, right? I'm in another room, and I'm looking at a television screen, and anything that I'm feeling, they got some electrodes on my blood. Anything that I'm feeling, my blood is feeling it too in another room. Right? To me, that's Holy Spirit. That means that my blood has a frequency that is wireless. Like I'm a wireless. I'm wireless. My love, my words, my music, my art, all of that is wireless. So if you mix in too much of that static electricity, it's going to make me sick.
Well, in the same token, I'm thinking that if you go the frequency of 528, which is the plant frequency, I think it is. Right. That you get rid of a lot of that static. Right. And so virtually you're one with nature. You're one with all the electrons and the protons and all that kind of stuff. And right. You get what I'm saying. So right. So if death should come at that moment, it has no power.
Plus, you notice they were everything's starting to become wearable. Like technology is becoming wearable, mobile. Like your smartphone, the technology that's being used in your smartphone is now your watch or whatever, right? Now that's able to read. That's able to read your frequencies in a way where, in order for you, let's say you want to be, you don't want to have anything to do with the electric grid no more. Right. So you amplify your frequency to a frequency where you can keep your cell phone charged and everything, and you can access the internet. So let's say the standard for that is like 1 gigahertz. You got access to 1 gigahertz. But your watch, you're able to see, the amplitude of your frequency in a way that you didn't have it before. You was never able to vibrate at that frequency at a 24/7. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's something we're able to do now that we wasn't able to do before. And the only way that happens is if you have a light body. You have to have a light body in the virtual for that quantum entanglement to happen. It's thermodynamic entanglement too, because, for example, let's say it's wintertime and it's cold outside. If you can amplitude your frequency, you're not going to be feeling that cold.
No.
So that's the term raising your frequency, raising your vibration.
Right.
Exactly.
Having a light body means that you're able to do that as an automated system.
Right.
So that means, like right now, let's say the medical industry depends on chemotherapy and you know, death. Like you have to die. You have to get sick. You have to keep coming back to them. Otherwise, they will go bankrupt. Right now, you have access to being able to because your bloodline, and you know you got people in your family. They all share the same. They all share the same bloodline. But that person, there's a person in your family that's sick. What's to say that everyone can't vibrate at a frequency to where every family member and everyone that has the same bloodline can contribute to healing that sick family member? There's no law that says that can't happen.
Right. No,
because think about it. When they do the radiotherapy, that's radioactivity.
Well, when you do prayer.
I was going to say, I was thinking of prayer and meditation.
When you do prayer,
right.
You vibrate that person back to existence by your prayers.
Right, but that prayer will have to be will have to have the incantation to generate that frequency. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, when they stick you in an MRI machine, right? Yeah. They're using energy. They're using energy. Right. They're using energy to produce that. Now, the same energy that they're using to produce that, the radioactivity, the static, what if there's a biomagnetic window that does the exact same shit, but it's not static, it's not friction, it's not heat, it's not the electromagnetic spectrum, it's the biomagnetic spectrum.
Yeah.
Because that's what you are. You are a biomagnetic being.
So that's like walking through walls kind of stuff we could do after that.
I mean, as far as your mind goes, I mean, the sky's the limit. But as far as your body goes, whatever's ailing you is going to yield to that amplitude, because that amplitude is your natural frequency. It's just amplified. It's not static electricity. Like electromagnetic spectrum is the exact opposite of what we are.
Exactly.
Right? We're not electromagnetic. We're biomagnetic. Electricity and water don't mix. Electricity and water don't mix.
That's why they had to get rid of Tesla, because
that's exactly why.
In order to keep the masses under wraps, they had to create that interference.
Right.
Exactly.
To suppress that higher frequency. Absolutely.
Right.
Because didn't they come out the same time with you know, the electric, and then Tesla was on like the magnetism, and they shut Tesla shit down? They knew what he had back then.
Yeah,
General Electric.
Right, and their whole fear was, and Tesla didn't.
You couldn't monetize
his whole thing was. His whole thing was, this is how it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Energy is supposed to be free. You're not supposed to be using energy to suppress people. Energy is supposed to be free. You know what I'm saying? And that was his attitude, because back then, before that, they was using static electricity. They have corpses, dead bodies that they was parlaying around and shooting it with electricity and making the dead bodies move.
Yeah.
Right? That's where they got Frankenstein from. The woman who came up with Frankenstein, she sat up and witnessed that, and that's what came to mind. You know, it inspired her to write Frankenstein. But for them to do that, they already knew. They was already sitting back saying to themselves, whoa, the body has an electrical current, like life has an electrical current, because check this out. And then they had a little ball, and they had the little electricity, and it made the arm move, had made the arm stand up, made the head move, and they knew what parts of the body to hit in order to make the body move a certain way. Right? So that was before Tesla. When Tesla came along, and he what he did was he charged the air with electricity so that his body can conduct the electricity, and he pick up a light bulb, and the light bulb lit up. It was his body that lit that light bulb up. So for our bodies to be able to light up a light bulb, what you need the electric grid for?
Exactly. Right. And you taking
like
directly from nature.
Like they did in the pyramids. Remember they took the light bulbs and held them in their hands when they were going into the pyramids?
And the
Tesla said that's where he got.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and Tesla said that's where he got it from.
Wow.
Tesla said he got it from that.
Okay, we have another caller. Let me get 973 in. Man, woo, yeah, this is. Okay, 973.
Peace, family.
Peace,
everybody. Hey, Dunn the Lion, I love you. Tova, what's up? I'm so happy that and honored to, we're all divine alignment. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing.
Indeed.
Yeah, this is it's confirming so much that because I'm trying really hard to strengthen my left hemisphere. Instead of hemisphere, we should just say chemisphere of our left brain, my left brain. Yeah. So I can turn a canoe from a placemat, but I just need to know. The math is hard for me, but I understand the science. But you're explaining it so well that it's all coming together, brother. I have a question because you know how carbon is, when they say go green, that's a solar plexus, and that's really chlorophyll and all that. So black is green, and that's a SAR, right?
Well,
hello?
Right. That's a SAR, exactly.
A SAR, yeah. And, okay, because I got this because I was just in deep thought about olives, actually. I'm like, olives, so I love, and yeah, black is green. And that's how I came, and then the whole SAR thing. So that was a really amazing revelation. So then I was listening to my neighbors. They were talking about how, I guess I didn't see the Super Bowl. I don't even have television or anything like that because I can't deal with the low frequencies. They give me seizures. But, they were saying how, I guess, during the halftime show, there was, drones and stuff. And then I'm like, that's so weird. What exactly are drones? Are there orbs or something? And then I saw they showed me on their phone or whatever, and I could only watch it for so long because whatever. But I was like, wow, it's really weird. It almost looks like Merkabas, light Merkabas, and they were green. So is that us? Is that is those orbs? You know what I'm saying? Those. And then listen to this. Drones literally spells, if you break it down and the anagram for that is donor. Drone spells donor. We're talking about the blood bank and a donor and everything like that.
Right.
So yeah. So it seemed it's just something it was. I don't think people understand. I'm still trying to understand. You know what I'm saying? But it was something that I the seed is planted and it'll turn into a tree soon, but you know what I'm saying? But I was seeing that and I'm like, damn, that's really something with these drones. People, we're not really understanding what they are. They may be more plasma or something.
Right.
And that's another thing.
I will add on to that because you brought it in, mentioning OSAR. And that's deep because when you're talking orbs and you're talking plasmas and frequencies, the thing about the thing about green and the thing about OSAR is you're talking about gold. And a lot of people don't realize gold is different colors. Gold has a green frequency. Gold has a black frequency because platinum is gold, right? And platinum there's black platinum, right? So there's red gold, there's green gold, there's orange, yellow gold, black. But as soon as you say black and white gold, that means that gold can become an entire spectrum. You got all of the colors that's necessary.
That come out of
black.
black.
All of the, right. So you got all of the colors.
Because it's the absorption of all the colors.
Right. And but we're still talking about gold. And that's why people need to understand what does that look like at the molecular level. Gold at the molecular level is a cube. So the cube, the sacred cube, is the holy ark of the covenant. And all of your orbs obey the frequency of the holy ark. I don't care what it is. That's another thing Tesla.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that Tesla was always talking about. He was always talking about that ark. Like he was letting people know that that's real. That was real technology that the ancients was using, and you know, it's not to be taken. It's not to be taken for fantasy. And then he went in. He set in to prove it. He set in to prove it with the. So basically, what I'm saying is all of that is alchemy, but the green window, that's for healing. And that's how our set was able to find him and heal him.
Yeah.
Right. That she had to make because the green. Remember, the chlorophyll has the exact same.
Chlorophyll, exactly.
Has the exact same.
And that's light that's from the sun.
Right.
And that's so.
Right.
I mean, I understood this when I was a little girl when I found out about the whole carbon dioxide, oxygen relationship. I would go up to the plants that looked. They looked like they were sad, and I would just blow on them, and I'd be like, "I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you carbon dioxide. You're going to need oxygen. We're going to help each other." That's I was fascinated by that. Even as a child, I was just excited about that, and
even though chlorophyll is green, chlorophyll is plant blood. It's the lifeblood of the plant, right? Yep. But the chemical equation, the chemical equation for chlorophyll is the same as blood. Look up the equation and then look at the equation for blood. It's the exact same thing. The only difference is that the nucleus for the chlorophyll is magnesium. The nucleus for human blood is iron. And that's why.
Wow.
And that's what makes it red.
That's what makes it red, exactly.
Yeah. And the other side of red is green. It's not the opposite. It's just it's a
you know what?
Counterpart.
Y'all going down some
right.
science up in here tonight.
Right. So when you say osar, you're actually saying that what chlorophyll is for plants, which is melanin. Chlorophyll is actually what melanin is. What melanin is to the human body is what chlorophyll is to the plants. That's how plants get their different colors and all of that too. It's their program.
Yep.
The program comes from the chlorophyll. So when you say osar, you're basically saying that the gold frequency causes a flip between one and the other. It allows one to communicate with the other. That's why we can communicate with plants. Right. That's why we can communicate with plants or whatever. They can feel what we feel. They can sense what we sensing. There's a connect here. And I believe that connect has a lot to do with human blood and the inaudible gold frequency. I believe once we tap that gold frequency in that way, that you'll understand what the orbs and all that you're seeing. You'll understand that a whole lot better.
Wow.
Can I add one more bill to the box? Because that means so much. When you're saying that, I saw something really beautiful. Well, heart spells earth, okay? Netters. The first 3 letters is 10. That's a binary system. That's a 1 and 0. When we become one, we become whole. That's 1 and 0. We want to be empty and whole at the same time, not dealing with duality. And then
you sound like my girl Tova, man. What's your name?
Yeah, this is Tova, baby. This is Tova.
Oh,
it's me.
Shit.
You already know.
What's goody, baby?
Whoever told you, you're my friend.
How did I not know that this is? Come on, man. Ain't nobody else talking like that with you.
I know, right? So we communicated through the ethers even before we, manifested that. So already, and it's so our souls are on the bottom of our feet, right? And our heels are right next to it. We can heal our soul, and I'm in many worlds and everything like that. And the new agers like, oh my God, be positive, go for light. I'm like, well, fuck that. I'm gonna be magnetized. I don't care about twinkle and shining. I will be the galactic, blackness that holds everything together, kind of thing. And that's what the chlorophyll and melanin is too, because it holds the atoms and the electron. It's like the cosmic glue that holds it all together. The stars. Everybody wants to be a freaking star, but the cosmic glue that holds everything together. If you actually get that far to twinkle and shine, who knows? But
the magnetism.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. I have all these notes I've just been oh man, I'm sitting on the lily pad of all these papers all around me. It's oh man, but I so appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sis. Thank you for tuning in and contributing. I truly appreciate it.
I appreciate your reflections. It's just a family, and I'm honored to be here. It's going to get crazier, but we'll just keep on growing and healing and becoming a better version of ourselves,
Absolutely, sis. Absolutely. Well, thank you,
Ashe.
beloved. Peace and love.
Peace and love to you too. Love you, Denzel.
One love, boo.
Okay. You have let me see, brother. You got 2 more calls. Let me go to 817. Okay, 817. 817, your line is open. Okay, I don't think you have a question. 817, going once, going twice. All right, 817. I'm not sure what was going on. Just get back in the queue. All right, the next caller is anonymous. It's at 111. So let me bring you in. 111, your line is open. Okay, folks must be pressing the queue. 111, going once, going twice. Okay. All right, well, you got to get back in the queue, so that's more time for us. Okay. So, for anybody else that want to get in the queue, press 1. I'm not trying to be selfish, but if you don't get it in, we finna use up this time. Okay, so
hey,
go ahead on, Brother Wendell.
Let me hit a few points, man.
Go ahead, because you know I'm like, but go on, brother.
I'm gonna start at the bottom and say this thing right here. You're not really talking about mathematics. You're talking about arithmetic.
Basically.
Now, I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Because each and every example you got that you gave involves some type of a rhythm.
Right.
Now, to maximize this energy, what you're talking about is each and every individual involved will have to become a rhythm addict. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
That your word arithmetic is a rhythm addict.
Right.
Thereby synchronizing the minds of the masses of the people.
Exactly. There's
a
frequency for that. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Now, you also mentioned that Egypt was a motherboard. Well, from what I've seen, the entire planet at one time was a motherboard because you got them pyramids and grids all over the planet.
All over the planet.
So the whole planet had to be and is a motherboard.
Yeah, that's what Plato dropped at. He laid out the grid. It's called the world grid, the world grid theory.
Yeah.
And each of the points that you're talking about is chakras. And it's like the earth has chakras, just like the human body have chakras. So the same tuning that has to apply to the body is also applied to the earth. So you're right.
Yeah. Now, you said one word, chakra.
Right.
I don't know who else paid attention to this, but you remember back when Obama, after they signed into law, I guess you would call it, whatever law they're talking about, the right for the gays to marry. And they had them lights that night shine over the White House, in front of the White House.
Mm-hmm.
If you go and look at that, that was nothing more than the chakra diagram, all the colors, all of them.
Right.
That's interesting.
I can see that.
Yeah. If you can go get that video or a shot of that White House when they did that, you can look at the colors and all of them are there.
Yeah.
Now
I believe it.
Yeah. Now you also mentioned that the World Wide Web will become an internet hologram.
Right.
They already working real hard at this, but they're doing it by way of an implant. Go check out the H Plus series. I don't know if you checked that out yet, but that H Plus series is exactly what you were talking about.
With the internet becoming a hologram, a holographic internet.
Yeah, but they were doing it. They're doing it with implants. They'll put an implant in the back of your neck, and I think it was within you would have to let it adjust to your body for about 30 days, and then whatever you want to put on the internet, it would just pop up in front of you. And whatever you want to do on it or navigate or work on it, whatever, you can do it as you walking around talking to somebody.
Yeah, man. Wow.
So that's the H3 series.
No, H plus.
H plus. Okay, H plus.
H plus. It's called H plus, the digital series.
Yeah, I'm definitely checking that out.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Is it technology they're working on or a movie?
They got this going down. This is technology.
Okay. Got you. Just want to make sure I search properly.
Yeah, it's going down. Now, you mentioned, this date has been thrown around by a lot of people here lately.
I know where you're going with that. That 23rd.
September the 23rd. Now, and you also said that they would have to prove God, right?
Right.
How about they already proved him, because that date is so significant, because that's the date, the exact date, September the 23rd, somewhere back in the 4th century. Some say it was between 363 364 A.D. Some say between 343 and 381 A.D. The Council of Laodicea instituted moving the Sabbath to Sunday rather than Saturday.
Right.
They already proved it. They proved it because they moved it. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
To get the masses of the people away from that.
Right. It's interesting you should say that, because that right after that was the big showdown. You know, you have Constantinople, the first showdown for the separation of church and state.
There you go.
And that eventually led to where we are now with America, because you have to deny that God was proven in order to have separation of church and state. You have to deny it, and once you deny it, now you leave the public in a position where they have to prove it again.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow, that's deep, y'all.
Yeah.
Because
Go ahead and finish your point.
Yeah, I was going to say that now where we at now with our ability to prove it now, already set that up. Trump went after what's called the Johnson Amendment, what actually shut churches down from contributing to political parties and all that. Right. So what he's saying is, I'm going to attack that law, and the reason why I'm going to attack it is because I feel that churches should have the freedom to have the same rights as a 501c4.
Right.
501c3s are supposed to have the same right as a 501c4. So he's basically saying, y'all need to go ahead and prove God. Ronald Reagan did the same thing. Ronald Reagan did the same thing. When he did his thing with Proclamation 5018, he declared the year 1985 the year of God, the year of the Bible.
Yeah.
So when he put that there, he's saying, all of Congress comes together and they say, okay, the Bible is the word of God. He's basically saying, y'all better go ahead on and prove the word of God.
Yeah. Now I think now this is just my personal opinion. And I could be wrong with 1,000 left shoes. Y'all know how I do it. I always preface myself. I think in some respects that would be a mistake to do that, because then what you actually doing is saying that a corporation is a person.
They're already doing that. They did that with Citizens United.
That's true.
But see, my thing with that is, how can an artificial person have natural rights? It's impossible.
Right, but what they're saying is, because you refuse to prove God, this is what I can do. That's what they're saying. When you say prove God, what you're actually saying is divine sovereignty, statehood. That's proving God. I have divine sovereignty. my sovereignty don't come from the government. My sovereignty don't come from some corporation. My sovereignty comes from God. Here's proof.
Yeah.
That's what they calling us out, because and rightfully so, because they saying since you are incapable of proving God, then you can't stop me from running the world. Now, I'm gonna make it do what it do. The Bible. I'm gonna fulfill my end of prophecy. You know, they know their role. They know they playing their role.
They know it well.
You know what I'm saying? When the Bible says those who are destroying the earth, you can look at every Republican that's denying climate change. Just like what Rhonda was, the jewel you and Rhonda was dropping just before I came on. 1 minute you're able to wear your flip flops and everything's, you know, and the next day it's a blizzard.
Yeah.
More. I just got finished shoveling my whole driveway, man. I mean, this snow is thick and wet and like we got like 16 inches, but just yesterday it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
That was just less than 24 hours ago, man.
Yeah. So now my last point. You mentioned Grandmaster Flash. I got to go to the Grandmaster Flash. I want to know why they got into a contract. Because they had to get into a contract to get that music out there the way they did. And just maybe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, was it Jam Master Jay that ended up dead here 2 years ago?
Out of Run DMC.
Run DMC. Okay.
Right.
What is the possibility that he got on to a particular piece of what you're talking about and started coming after him?
You mean you mean the patent?
Yeah. What if he started doing some research and found out what really happened and started coming after him?
I wouldn't deny it, but the thing about that is and is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
He never patented Grandmaster Flash. He never patented that. I mean, they just stole his idea, and Sony.
Yeah.
I think Sony was the first one. Sony saw what he did and didn't hit him up or nothing. They just went and patented it.
And came out with the term.
He didn't see no money. He didn't see no money.
That's what I'm saying. What if he found that information out and figured out how to get back at him and come after him?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, man. Tell you the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, but that whole thing, the way it went down, it was some hood shit. The way it went down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And hip hop, it's all about hip hop actually coming together and realizing how much money we got for, because intellectual properties matter.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
And as long as
you can't put a value on that. You can't put a value on intellectual property. Period.
Right. Exactly. So the only way you can even come close to putting a value on it is evaluating the community itself. And that was Jam Master J thing. Like, this is a community thing. That was Grandmaster Flash thing. It was a community thing. For them to be able to take that and make it a corporate thing pissed everyone off. That's the reason why I can't write off what you're saying, because that's we started becoming a culture. And when you're thinking in terms of a culture, you think in those terms like that, like that's a violation that's cause for war. You know what I'm saying? I got to get back at you. I can't just let you get away with that.
Yeah, and see what was happening at that point is what I explained with that word, a rhythm. They were all becoming rhythm addicts.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
They were synchronized. They were synchronized.
Right. And mind you, we didn't understand the frequencies that we were using. They
right.
did.
Right. They knew it. That's why they want to step in and shut it down.
Right. They understand how the frequency 440 hertz affect us, and how the frequency 432 hertz affect us.
That's
they know.
right. Yes,
we don't know, but they know.
We don't
they
know.
know that 432 hertz is makes us a beast.
Right.
Yeah.
And just real quick. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, it's more related to our physiology.
Right. So we have another caller, 404. I want to get them in, but before we do, what is the name of the generation that came up with hip hop? What do they call us? Generation what?
X.
Well, what do they call it? Generation X? Generation
X. XNA, extraterrestrial DNA.
Yeah,
God.
exactly. That's what's up.
I'm just saying. Soon as you said XNA, I said, God damn it. I kept telling people they've been looking for that X factor up.
And that's what they need to understand, man. We're not just going to give it all up to y'all without letting y'all know what to do with it.
Exactly. It's coming full circle now. The ancestors then let that little DNA unlock. We got it now. We got it. Okay, so let me bring in 404. Okay, 404.
Family.
Greetings,
family.
beloved.
How you doing, Sister Rhonda, Sister Jillian?
Hey, sis, how are you?
How you doing? Great and wonderful. I have a question, and the question that I have, because I've dealt with color as a colorist with different colors and with the hair and the different shades, and as far as to take out color, to add color, and so forth. But as you were talking about color tonight, I just noticed in the last, I would say 6 months, a little over that, I met different people, and different people said, well, when you walk into the room, I saw these certain colors, your aura, and they were different colors. Like one person saw me in a blue light, another person saw me in a yellow light, another person saw me in a different light. So the question I have for that, were those opposing colors, like blue opposes, like it also in hair color, in order to change the green or to take out some blue in the hair, a blue tinge, you use orange, or if you want to take out the red colors, you add green, or if you want to, add more of an ash color, you use a little more green, or if you want to take, make it a little more violet, you add yellow. So can the brother answer that particular question for me? And then the other question that I have, I'm now starting to understand a little bit more about the hertz, as far as megahertz between the 440 to 432 and that. Can he expound on that a little bit for me? And I yield.
Okay, sis. I'm going to leave your mic open just in case you need clarification on anything.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. When you talk about the different frequencies of color, I always relate that, especially when you speak aura. I always relate that to chakra and feelings, like what you're feeling at that moment when you stepped into the room and the people saw these different colors. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're feeling, it's a chakra thing. Is how I would answer that, because one thing about chakras that people don't realize is your brain waves have different frequencies. You have theta rhythms, beta rhythms, which is the highest, and then you have the alpha rhythm, and all of those contain to different colors, and those different colors represent mood. And the point that you was making about the musical hertz and the megahertz, and that involves colors as well. And this is the reason why when we make music, different instruments, we're actually feeling the colors. It becomes what's called synesthete. Synesthete is like a condition that allows you to taste colors and taste sound and hear colors, and it's like all your senses get jumbled up. And nothing really. It's a genius frequency, but it's crazy because just the thought of being able to taste color, that's crazy. Sounds like an oxymoron or something. But when you walk into a room and someone says, wow, I see these colors or that color, that's that field as far as I'm concerned. That's that synesthete field. And the only way to explain that is by truly understanding where you was at that moment, or what you was experiencing at that moment. It might have been, it might have been love. It might be a love frequency that you connected to. That, and there's different types of love. So I don't just mean the sexual part. I mean, if you have children or whatever, a lot of that could affect it, because there's a lot of times, I'm talking to a family member or whatever that I love, and I'm thinking about them, and they may have said something that moved me in a certain way that just walks with me, like it taps spirit to me, and that spirit just stays with me because of how significant what they're going through or what they're saying is. That's how I would answer that question.
Okay, my last question. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, below.
Okay, my brother. Okay, my last question is, and it's been puzzling me for the last a week and a half now. I had a dream, and in the dream, I'm in a room, and I'm helping my partner, my significant other, and I'm handing him white tiles. But the white tiles are like 4x4, okay? But they're illuminated tiles, and they're bright, like when somebody talks about transitioning over, what in the islands they call us traveling. But my father-in-law was in the dream, but he already transitioned. But what message I was getting was everything was going to be okay, and I believe it was a message for me to pass on to that person. Can you help me out with that? Am I on target or what?
Yeah, it sounds like you're on target, especially when you were able to. You said it was 4x4.
The tiles were 4x4 tiles, like you would see in the 60s and the 70s, what they put into the bathroom, but they were very illuminated. Right.
See, it's because you're able to break it down in detail like that. You're using terms like illuminated, 4x4. Trust me when I tell you that you definitely on point, because
okay.
Because
what
you
I
can't.
Got from that. I'm sorry, because I got the number 8, but then I thought about double covenant, and then the person. There's a very strong bonding with us, and so as far as the white light and the brightness, I thought about, and it was so peaceful, but it was a common light to say everything was going to be okay.
Yeah, I like how your spirit interpreted that, because that number 8 is really, it's a figure 8, so the bonding is there just with that number 8 alone.
So that's
number
infinity.
8 is, right. That's infinity, and that's an octave. Number 8 is an octave. So you have the musical element as well.
So okay, other question, because I just thought about it. How does that connect myself and that person, because I'm musically inclined, and that person is also musically inclined, and we synergistically come together?
What's your question? How does it connect?
My partner and I, we're both musically inclined, and we're connected. So how would you say that it would be infinity as far as that number, and as far as us having those affinities of having, everything synergistically coming together?
I would just say that it's that number 8. The fact that it's an octave, the fact that you're both musically inclined, that means that at some point there's an octave that allows y'all to really be tuned to the same music. And I had that happen to me. Someone I hardly know, and a song comes on, and it's not just my favorite tune; it's theirs too. They feeling it just as much as I'm feeling it. So that connection in itself, if that can happen, from two people who just met. I could see pretty much that number 8 summing that up for you with your significant other.
Wow.
Thank you.
All right then, sis. Well, thank you so much. Thanks, beloved. Peace and love.
I thank you, and I love you, sis.
Love you too, sis. Good to hear your voice. Peace and love.
Peace and love, wholeness.
Okay, so real quick before I forget, Brother James, because we only have like about 11 minutes. Your last name is Dunn, right?
Yes.
What came to me when you were speaking this time, when you broke down how you went and like traced back the genetics of your name per se, but your name is tied to the financial system, right? Because isn't there a Duns and Bradstreet?
Oh yeah.
So I thought about that.
Yeah, like I said, when I trace my name back, I trace it back to a coat of arms. The surname, it's all surname.
Mm-hmm.
That coat of arms was what they did was, when you have a coat of arms, you swore oath to something.
Right.
And that's something involved the Knights Templars building of Scotland. They got this. It's supposed to be a replica of Ezekiel's temple. If you're familiar with what I'm talking about, it's some Freemasonic thing. Now, what happened back then was it was a Protestant era. You was fighting against the Catholic Church,
right,
to establish the Protestant version of Christianity. Now, the wars that they was contributing to then, it was basically to resurrect what the Knights Templars set up with the banking system, because they wouldn't have that banking system wasn't for the Knights Templars.
Exactly.
Right, and the Knights Templars, when they did the thing with the Knights Templars, what they made a vow of poverty. They made a vow. They swore to each other a vow, and each of them brought their coat of arms to the table, and that's basically how and that basically was translated right to America. When it got translated to America, like I said, King James had triple crowns. He had a triple crown, so he wasn't just the crown of Britain. He was the king of. He wasn't just the king of Britain. He was the king of Scotland and Ireland.
Right.
All of that came up under one crown. So that surname. When I traced it all the way back to that, it made sense as far as how these other surnames, like I looked into a couple of surnames like Harris. That's 50% African American. Now, right? So you can imagine when those surnames was first being introduced to the slave population, it may have been 90%, 80%, 90%, 80% Caucasian. Some of these surnames have been circulating in America to the extent where it can be 50% African American now.
Right.
That's what's up.
Right. Well,
that's
and
what's
I
up.
bring that up.
That means you get that 12 tribe effect.
Right, and that's why I'm bringing it up, and because I want one last important point, but because you're fulfilling your prophecy. Dunn ties back to the setup of the Knights Templar of the banking financial system. So fast forward, or if you do 360, that is your role, your important role that you're going to play in building the new system. So the next point
54.
I wanted to make, okay,
number
very
54.
good, 60, okay, 54, 9, 55 plus 4 equals 9 completion. Okay, so the next point I wanted to make, you talked about Maggie L. Walker. She, melanated sister, she started, or black woman, she was the one that started the banking system. And then you also mentioned, we all know about Madam C.J. Walker. So my point being that literally the whole financial system came through the melanated woman. She was the one that sparked that wealth. So
exactly,
you know that they're coming out with the U.S. Mint is minting a coin of Lady Liberty, which is the melanated woman. That comes out this year. And I kept telling people we have to pay attention to what they are telling us.
Word,
they're telling us that the wealth is coming
Tubman
back through the woman, the
Word,
melanated woman.
You got the $20 Tubman.
Absolutely.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So between Tubman and Lady Liberty, that's something these sisters need to recognize, because I gotta say this. Word, I gotta say this. If the right sisters step up, and I don't mean on some religious shit. I mean,
no, it ain't even about that.
Right. Be an American. Be democracy, capitalism. Own that.
Yep.
Say to yourself that their time has come. They already did what they're going to do with it. They can't do no more with it than what they've already done.
Exactly.
It's time for a new economic system. If it came in through you, then it ends with you. It
Thank
came in
you.
Through,
the Divine Nine.
Maggie.
Exactly.
Word. It came in through Maggie Lena Walker, Madam C.J. Walker. They set it up. Now, who is that today? Because it's not just Oprah. I mean, you can't just rely on that.
Nope.
That's not closing shit up.
Oprah
already did what she's going to do.
Exactly. I got it loud and clear. So we literally only have 7 minutes. So, Sis Sandra, you have anything for Brother James you want to close out with?
I'm pretty good. I've learned quite a bit by listening to him today. And with my recent experience, it kind of all ties in. And maybe we can tap into some of that, you and I privately on the internet.
We finna do some shit. Absolutely. Now I got the picture now, because he sparked my the first time. I got it. I got it loud and clear. Yeah, we finna sync up and make some shit happen. Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. You're able to understand me a little better now than before.
Oh yeah. Well,
I got it. It's loud and clear.
Experience is a good teacher. It's a very good teacher.
Exactly. He broke down the source code for us. So sis, I'm gonna leave your line open. Brother Wendell, you have any last words for Brother James?
Hey man, that was a good call. I was with you the first time you came on.
I just didn't know specifically how, but that brother laid that shit out. I was like, no, writing it down. I'm like, this is gonna be on and popping. I get it loud and clear.
Yeah, I probably said it before. I'm processing as you're talking.
Yeah, you did say that before.
That's what I am. I process as I'm listening.
Right, because you all are the programmers and we are the implementers, remember? So you're programming and we're out in the front implementing / running the corporation. I got this shit. I got it. So other thing you confirmed real quick, and we're going to rock out with some music because we're about to cut off. You confirmed to me, Brother James, why I switched careers back in 95. I started out in finance, was bored as shit with that, and got picked up to be in the tech world. So I literally was at IBM and them, and they're like, well, damn, you picking this stuff up really quick. So I just kind of fell into that particular industry per se, and I liked it. I thrived in it and all of that. But now I know why. Just for this moment right here, the shit makes sense. I get it now. I totally get it. You put that into perspective. So I want to thank you so much, brother. It was a pleasure as always. Love you very much. We're going to sync up offline. We got some shit to talk about. We got some shit to get done.
No doubt.
For sure. So I want to thank you again.
One love, family.
Okay,
one
love. Okay, peace
all right,
and
Wendell.
love. Okay.
All right, my brother.
Okay, so
Peace
we're going to
and
rock out with some music.
Peace and
We're
love.
going to get cut off. We're going to rock out with We Are One, Frankie Beverly. Love you, family. We'll be back next week. The topic will be about Mama Earth. So love you. Peace, love, truth, freedom, and justice. One heart, one mind, one spirit. Love you, family. Thank you, Brother James.